Hello everybody, welcome to Frame Trap. I am your host, Ben Moore. If this is your first time watching Frame Trap, this is a show where we just relax, we talk about games, we talk about what we've been playing, and we have a good time. And you know, I love all of my panelists on this show, I do, but when I was like coming in, you know, you have some pre-show anxiety, you're worried about how things are gonna go, and you think about what questions you're gonna ask, and how you're gonna press the panel, and how the game's gonna go over, and you hope you don't make any stupid mistakes, but then I was just like, man, I'm just talking about games with Brad and Huber.
Hell yeah.
It can't be that bad.
No.
You'll probably go all right.
Pure fun.
Yep.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Easy peasy.
Speaking of, I already mentioned their names, but at the end there, we've got Michael Huber with trademark Shenmue shirt.
Yes. I can't wear this anymore on Huber syndrome because the green picks up on the green screen so you can like see
That
through.
feels like the most appropriate place for it.
I know. It's brutal, so I gotta wear it everywhere else.
Can you put like black tape on there and you have like,
Yeah.
I love Shenmue.
I know.
You should have like Yu Suzuki's face in there or something like that.
Is there a shirt with just Yu Suzuki's face?
No,
We
but
should
that's a good
make
idea.
one.
We
I
should
went
make
to
one.
I went to Starbucks on the way, and the clerk was like, "What's that shirt from?" I was like, "Shenmue," and I was like, "Shenmue, do you play?" And he's like, "Oh no, I thought it was Yusuke from Yu Yu Hakusho."
Oh, hey,
I was
all
like,
right.
all right.
cool.
I can see that.
I was like,
can see that.
Yeah, I was like, "Dude, Yu Yu Hakusho, good stuff."
All right, that's awesome.
I was like, "Have you played Shenmue?" He's like, "No." I was like, "All right, no worries. See you later."
Peace. Did you say you should?
No.
Okay.
I was like, oh,
I
cool.
respect that.
Yeah.
I respect that. In the middle there, with a really nice jacket.
Thanks.
Give me. You would be a good Resident Evil protagonist.
Cool.
You
Yeah,
got the
I'll
look.
take that.
Leon, bro.
You are Leon.
He
That's
As
needs
who
long
you
to
as,
are.
as long as I don't
You
die,
are Leon.
I'm cool with that.
Leon S. Kennedy. Bradley Ellis, how you doing?
What is the S
Kitty,
in
Chad.
Leon?
What?
Pop quiz. What is the S?
Scott?
What is the S?
Boom.
I didn't know.
Now you can officially cosplay.
Yeah.
That's the test.
Yeah.
I want you to sell to work at a costume shop that only sells Resident Evil items, and whoever the
quizzing.
character is that they try to dress up as,
like
you give them a
folding
quiz. Yeah.
No, dude, I want Hunk. I want to cosplay as Hunk.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah.
Bring him back.
Where's Hunk, man? Come on.
Remember when we thought that we'd be playing as Hunk and
Not a Hero,
or,
yep.
or that was a rumor going around
Yeah.
at the time. But we've got a lot of Resident Evil to talk about. This is going to be a Resident Evil heavy episode. Before we get into that,
Before we get into that, if I like stand up, if I stand up,
yeah,
I'm getting a tissue. I'm not feeling well. If you
not
can
feeling
tell
well?
by my voice.
Why don't you just bring him over?
Yeah. Well, I don't want to blow my nose on the camera. Like
It's
if
too
I,
late,
you
man.
know,
you know what? This is a show where we take it as it comes. You
Look, I
let me
don't
know
even-
how you're doing.
there's no tissues here.
Yeah.
I'll have to step into the bathroom
Oh,
and
jeez.
wash my hands.
Okay.
It's a whole
Okay.
big
Take
deal.
it as it comes.
I'll try
Take it as
not-
it comes.
I'll try not to get up. I'm sorry.
Lost my train of thought.
Sorry,
Back on
man.
train of thought. No, it's okay. It's okay.
I love this show.
I love this show.
It's so fun.
It's so fun. Huber,
Yes.
Brad,
Yeah.
we're recording this earlier than we've ever recorded a Frame Trap episode. So some of the things that we're talking about, we may be in totally different places with those games by the time you hear this. I hope we are in certain circumstances. But because starting tomorrow, I'm going to be gone for 3 weeks visiting family, and a lot of allies are going to be gone, traveling all over the country to see people. And so we still want to give an episode to you guys, so we're recording it early. And going away for about 3 weeks, that's usually the amount of time that I leave, is both the best time and kind of like a time of penance. And I want to talk about that really quick. And I know you guys go through this too, where we're starting to have Game of the Year talks. We're saying, hey, what's the best games that came out this year?
Persona 5.
You're not wrong. Anyway,
I'd be cool if it won.
hey,
I'm cool with it.
it wasn't attacking you.
I
It
know.
wasn't
I'm just
attacking
thinking
you.
about I'm thinking about all the goatees in my brain. I'm like, yeah, that's cool.
Right,
That
exactly.
wins. Oh yeah, cool.
No, I feel that way about a lot of things. But anyway, the whole point of this ramble is that we're going to play a bunch of stuff over break. I've got a list of stuff that I need to get through, things that have to be done. And I think you guys are going through the same thing. What are the games that you need to play before we get into this hot garage and yell at each other for multiple hours?
Ben, I've played almost everything I need to play. I feel like for Goaty, I just need to play more of certain titles. I've played I've played a lot actually this year, so I've been happy about that. I feel like us three usually play the most. I feel like.
Yeah, that's not even like a point of bragging. I think that's just the way that it is.
Usually, yeah.
And there are multiple reasons for that. But
Yeah.
I think collectively we've kind of played the most. There are things that I really need to finish.
There's still stuff to play. Yeah.
Yeah, Divinity Original Sin 2 is the top of my charts. I asked Damiani, do I need to play through Tales of Berseria? And he said probably not, but I might try to anyway.
I was thinking about that too.
Yeah.
I almost started that game back when it came out. It
you
came
have-
out. It came out at
do
a
you
good
have
time.
it?
I don't.
I think it came right before the wave of games.
Came at a really good time, and I was
Yeah.
like so close because I hadn't played Tales in a while.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the thing for me is just playing through a Tales game sounds really nice right now.
Yeah, that's like me
and
with
I've
Final
heard
Fantasy.
very good things about Berseria. And I mean I've played. I haven't played any of it. No, I've played. I don't know, probably 8-10 hours, something like that.
Yeah, I played like 2, I think.
Yeah.
Got a little taste.
Nice.
Something like
That's
that.
the one
I
with
was having a good
the girl on the cover, right?
Yeah,
The
like
face.
the Bloodborne
Yeah,
Cleric
yeah,
Beast
yeah.
arm.
Yeah.
Huber, what are the top games on your list?
There's really only two. It's Divinity and
Yeah.
Nier. Really, like I've finished everything else. One game that slid through the cracks, regrettably, was in January, and that was Gravity Rush 2.
Oh, yeah, I didn't play that.
I finished the
One.
remaster
Cool.
last year, and like it was on my list. I want to play it so badly. It came out the same month as Resident Evil. One thing led to another.
Of course.
Slipped through the cracks, but Gravity Rush 2, I must play.
Huber. Okay, you're very good at getting me excited. You just did so twice right there. Gravity Rush 2, I hope this puts you at ease a little bit. I don't know where Gravity Rush 2 falls on my list. I don't know if it's on my list at all. I really don't know. I haven't thought it out yet. But I will say this, the entire time I was playing Gravity Rush 2, I was having a great... Like, it is just a game where you have fun. You're flying around,
Yeah, it's
getting
fun.
wrapped up in the admittedly totally batshit insane story that only gets crazier as it goes on.
goodness.
Like, it's just a ride in a really good way.
Who was the dude in the first one with like the weird mask? What was that guy's name?
Oh, yeah.
Some Naruto character?
Yeah, he was like the guy causing trouble in the town.
I mean, I've played through both Gravity Rush 1 and 2,
And
and
you
there are
have
probably
no
a lot
idea.
of characters that you could throw at me. It's like, I don't remember that name.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I know I can visualize
Yeah,
it, but I
don't know
don't
his
remember
name.
the name. Yeah.
But
Is
I'm
that
also
guy
terrible.
important?
I'm not telling you, dude.
All right, chill.
That game's longer,
Anyway,
too.
I'm excited for you to play through Gravity Rush 2. I'm
Yeah.
excited to see what you think when you finish it. That game is longer than I was expecting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you play the DLC?
No, I did not play the
I
DLC.
forgot that came out. I gotta play that.
The DLC came out at a bad time.
Okay.
And I also had forgotten about the DLC. This is like a reminder.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt the DLC is that long.
Yeah.
I'd like to
Damiani
give it a
knows.
chance.
Yeah, Damian. I think Damian.
Yeah, I'd like to play through the DLC.
Oh, also I need to finish Mario Rabbids.
Oh.
Yes!
I need to finish
it.
I haven't finished that either.
That's a big one on my list.
Yeah.
Mario and Rabbids.
What a
good one.
jolly little game,
Yeah.
dude. Oh my
yes,
goodness.
Mario and Rabbids. Okay.
That game's
all right.
so fun.
Take a note.
Taking notes.
That game is so fun.
It is very fun. Yeah.
Because I feel like turn-based and like tactical came back this year for me in a big way. Like I've been going through Night Chasers Battle War, and it's like turn-based battles.
That's another one that I would really like to
And
play.
it's like,
yeah.
oh, it's
that I
so
completely
fun.
miss.
I love turn-based battle systems.
So you're telling me that you're kind of having this feeling of revival with strategy games, with turn-based
Yeah.
games. How do you feel about maybe making Christmas break the time you give Valkyria Chronicles a shot?
Oh,
What do you say?
yeah, you haven't played that yet.
What do you say?
It's
What do you
sitting,
say?
baby.
it's sitting like
What do you
right in the
say?
middle of my backlog, unopened, and I'm just like, I am a
Mike, you're
failure.
gonna love this game, dude.
I'm a
You're
failure.
gonna love that game.
I know.
It's
I really
so
do.
good.
I think you'll
It's
Wait,
love it.
so
okay, and then
good.
2 is on PSP.
Correct.
3 is also on
PSP.
PSP, but then 4 is coming out next year.
Yeah.
On
Is it
PS4?
next year? It's coming.
4 is coming out on PC, Xbox One, PS4, and Switch.
See, this stuff freaks me out, and you guys know me, dude. This stuff freaks
what's,
me
what's
out.
freaking you out?
2 and 3 on PSP. I'm never gonna play these games. How do I jump from 1 to 4? How does that jump
4
work?
takes place during the same time as 1.
Yeah,
I think.
you'll be fine.
So 2 and
The
3 are
answer
like
is-
spin-off.
There's a lot that could be said, but it all amounts to you'll be fine.
Okay.
We go through this. The audience goes through this. Just know that you'll be fine. Just
Okay.
play 1, have a great time.
Cool.
If you are feeling up for more, seek out ways to play 2 and 3. They're
Chill.
out there.
Chill.
I mean, 2 is not that hard to play, but because
Cool.
you can play it on Vita if you want. You can just
'Cause
download it. Yeah, I think so I have the UMD of 2, but I think just recently, within like the last week or so, I bought it on
Digitally,
Vita,
yeah.
on digitally for $10. I think
Oh,
was the
great.
price I paid. So
Wait, you can play 2 on Vita?
you
Yeah.
can play 2 on Vita.
Yeah.
2 on
if you
Vita?
digitally
2 on
buy
Vita.
it, yeah.
Perfect.
There you go.
There you
All
go.
set.
You got to beat one
All
first,
set.
though.
Okay.
Gotta be one first.
Like,
yeah.
1 takes place in a specific war, Mike.
Yeah.
And 4 takes place during that same war.
Oh.
Just on, like, a different front, I think.
Dude, I love that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
8th MS team.
8th MS team, right.
Yeah.
Huber, I know you really care about vibes and characters, and I want to know your opinions on that crew of people.
For sure.
Because of how well.
Oh, he's gonna
they're
love 'em.
presented. I think he's gonna love 'em.
I know
really
Mike
do.
very well.
Yeah.
He's going to
You
like
do
this
know
game.
Mike very well. That's
He's
true.
going to like this game.
Can you play it?
So we chatted a little bit. We're 10 minutes into the show, and I don't want to spend too much time with this, but I don't know if it's just because it's Christmas time. I'm feeling a little bit more relaxed. I just kind of want to shoot the shit with you guys.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Very relaxed. It's JRPG time. It's what it is. Especially, we're in the downtime right now.
We're in the
Time's running
downtime.
out. You got a couple weeks to catch up.
I want to talk about. So obviously we have this list that we're going to try to get caught up on, so we can be as informed as possible within reason.
Yes.
For these Game of the Year discussions, so we can have some weight behind our arguments. I think that's good. But also, I'm going to do some things just for me. I've said multiple times that I'm just going to be binging some Dragon Ball Super. I'm going to do that.
Yeah, no, yeah.
But now I'm at a point of conflict. I would like to play some sort of online game, and I thought, like, oh man, of course it's going to be Final Fantasy 14. I haven't, I've spent a little bit of time in Stormblood, but not that much. Now's the time to go through that.
Yeah.
But then I was like, man, people are really into Warframe. Maybe I should give Warframe a shot. It seems really cool. I played it
Sure.
when it came out
Yeah.
and was disappointed, and people tell me it's a completely different game.
Yeah.
That it's very complicated. But
So
very fun.
I'm super into Warframe and like getting into it.
Yeah.
But then I read Polygon, I think. Polygon did an article, and it was I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank here. It was like Polygon did an article about biggest games that have turned around, or biggest like the Game Awards award for best ongoing games.
Yeah.
It was talking about stuff like that, and it talked about Warframe, and it basically said, yo, this game's awesome, but you will never ever find a bigger time sink ever.
Oh my god.
And it was like if you are trapped on a desert island, bring Warframe, because it'll just, the game goes forever. It just goes. So I was like, I really want to play Warframe, but do I really need that in my life right now? Do I just like, it's such like a college game, And I always try to implore that to like the younger viewers out there that are like in college or high school.
Right.
It's just like dive into that stuff, dude. If I was
Okay.
in college still, like Warframe, I would be like the Jedi Master. Like, let's go.
Huber, you're so right. You're so right. I wish I could go back to my college self and be like, you're going pretty hard right now with the games. Go even harder. You're
Yeah.
never going to get a time
Go
period
even
like
harder.
this ever again. You've kind of scared me right there, because I've also heard similar sentiments of how demanding of your time it is. And not that Final Fantasy 14 isn't, but maybe I could, within the period of time I have, get through, the story
Yeah.
of Stormblood.
Yeah.
Not going beyond that, wrap it up, tie a nice bow on it, feel
Exactly.
fulfilled, watch a lot of Dragon Ball Super.
Yeah.
Then we're shoving right into Monster Hunter World. The timeline
Yeah.
adds up. Okay.
Because at least
You convinced
Stormblood
me.
has like
You
an
convinced me.
ending. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I need, if I'm gonna sink a ton of hours into something, I need to have like an ending.
Yeah. Well, I think they added stuff now too. So
Yeah.
It's probably even
Warframe?
longer now. No, 14. Because I beat the campaign or whatever in 14
Right.
when it came out. And that was it. But I think they added a bunch of stuff.
But Brad, we were talking about this. We were talking about familiarity, whereas I have a lot of familiarity with Final Fantasy 14, no familiarity with...
Yeah.
Not no, but I mean, the time that I've played Warframe, it's completely different, and that was years and years ago, so...
But they added that like open world part, and you can like go fishing. Like it does seem
Go fishing.
so good. It's installed.
It does.
Installed it, dude. I bought into the hype. I just haven't like opened it yet. It's too intense. But I want to play it.
Maybe we should take those first steps together.
We should like stream it or something.
Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Find a work-related reason to
I can
commit that amount
commit
of
to
time.
a stream.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got to
there we
get
go.
through other stuff first.
We gotta,
but-
yeah, right. That's not a promise. Just thinking out
Yeah.
loud here. But are there any sort of ways that you guys are going to treat yourself over break?
I did mine already. Like
did?
Chrono Trigger is my treat.
Yeah,
That was
that's a good
that
treat.
was for me, man.
That's a Christmas gift. Yeah.
You know what I would love to do is somehow get a hold of like a Sega Saturn and play all those
got one.
JRPGs on there.
I've got a Sega Saturn.
Like,
I've got a Saturn.
I heard there's a bunch of great games on there
Yeah.
that I've
Shining
never been able to play.
Force.
Not only do I have a Sega Saturn, I have Panzer Dragoon Saga, which I have not played.
Okay,
and
dude,
so
Brett,
there we go. That's a
whoa,
stream.
whoa. Brad Ellis, have you played? I've got a good one here.
Okay.
I got a Brad game.
Okay.
All right.
Skies of Arcadia.
Not all of it. Just brief parts.
Okay.
Never had a Dreamcast.
So
you know
Brad
that.
Ellis,
Never
yeah.
had that. Is the GameCube version better?
Yes, Damiani swears by
So-
it.
Okay.
Huber, I have also not played through Skies of Arcadia.
Dude.
We've got a lot of JRPG that are
never
that are
ends,
primed.
dude. I'm
yeah.
trying.
Well, and the thing is after I'm done with 1,000 Year Door, I'm thinking of doing Suikoden 2 for the
Yeah.
next RPG.
Oh, those games.
Crazy.
A lot of things we need to get through. A lot of big games. Okay, let's move out of the future, which sounds a little bit scary right now with all the things that we
Yeah,
need to
I'm
play through.
sweating.
Let's talk about something we have all played through. All of us have played through both of the new Resident Evil 7 DLCs.
Yeah.
Not a Hero, starring Chris Redfield, and The End of Zoe,
Yes.
starring Joe
Joe
Baker.
Baker.
Joe
Baker.
Baker,
that's what it is.
dude.
Yeah. So
Professional wrestler.
Huber, Not a Hero is something that kind of took longer to come out than I was expecting.
Yeah.
And I think there was a lot. If you think about how Resident Evil 7 ended, I think there was a lot of anticipation and speculation on how this would present Chris Redfield's story within Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
And so I throw this at both of you, Brad and Huber. Did it meet your expectations? What did it accomplish?
My expectations for this, I forgot about it for a while. So when it was coming out, I was like, oh yeah, I remember that game.
Yeah.
So
It came out at a great time.
Yeah.
Start the year and end the year with Resident Evil 7.
it gave me some
You know?
answers, which is good. Like, I remember when I beat 7, he's like, Redfield. I was like,
Yeah.
is that Chris Redfield?
Yeah.
You don't look anything like Chris. And they're like, oh, we just redesigned him. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's fine, I guess.
I want to talk a little bit about the design of Not a Hero. I do kind of want to avoid, since we're still pretty, we're going to be less fresh, I guess, by the time this episode actually airs, but I don't know if there's really any need to go into heavy spoiler territory for this discussion. My least favorite part of Resident Evil 7 is the part where you're in the cave shooting a lot of things.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
sure.
This is pretty much that part of the game extended in a lot of ways. There's a lot of shooting, a lot of combat, a lot of molded being thrown at you at once.
Yes.
Throughout the entire DLC. I am not necessarily opposed to that. I think that is okay, but the ways in which they tried to mix up this DLC, and I think when you talk about it, it sounds interesting. So you have basically this central room, and you have these different colored shutters that you go through, and there's kind of different challenges in each of them. It's like, okay, there's gas here. You're gonna get poisoned. You need to find this high grade filter. You need to get through this area before you run out of oxygen. That's a fine challenge. You've got another where it's like, hey, you have these explosives on the ground. Try to avoid them.
Yeah.
Or these lasers that you need to get around. You basically have different mini challenges like that, which I thought was cool and kind of in the vibe of Resident Evil of having a little bit of puzzle solving, obstacle course maneuvering, and combat. But I felt like the balance wasn't quite right. Whereas as I was doing these little challenges, I'm like, the challenges are not hard to overcome. Like, they're so easy to overcome that I basically just feel like I'm in narrow corridors shooting a bunch of guys,
Yeah.
which isn't all that fun.
And that was kind of like Resident Evil 7. I mean, they definitely dialed the puzzles down.
Yeah.
It was slower paced, though, so it wasn't like action, which was great. But I couldn't... Like, the reason I appreciate Not a Hero is because it was so hard for me to... Like, when I was going through 7, I was always like... Just imagine if Chris was here. He would just blow through all these dudes.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it was. It was like, if Chris Redfield is in this situation... Veteran, like, there's a scene where it's legit just horde mode where, like, 20 molded come at you, and you're Chris Redfield, so you're just like, bam, 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 bam. Like, everyone is dead. No problem.
Yeah.
Versus the contrast of being Ethan, who's never been
Just
in this
some
situation.
civilian,
Some civilian. So I really liked the context of Chris Redfield being in this situation.
Yes, I liked the context of Chris Redfield being in that situation. I just think inherently, in a weird way, it was less interesting than Ethan, somebody who I got to find out about, who had this very personal connection with his girlfriend, who was caught in this terrible, terrible, terrible situation, finding out about the Baker family.
Yeah.
Whereas this just felt like Resident Evil at its most literal, like Chris Redfield
Yeah.
messing dudes up, which is good.
Yeah.
But it was so short and so straightforward.
Yeah.
And there wasn't really anything that kind of flipped it on its head.
It reaffirmed how much I like the new direction that
Exactly.
7 took, you know? It was like, this is so rooted in the past of action evil, Resident Evil 5 and 6. Like, you know, I appreciated it absolutely for what it was, but it's like, man, Resident Evil 7.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer the slower pace kind of thing of the 7 set.
Yeah.
But this was like a fun little slice. Just a side little DLC, a little fun.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, it's
free
fun.
too.
Yeah,
it was
right.
a free
It was
DLC.
It was free. Yep.
There was I definitely want to talk about VR.
Oh
a
my
couple
God.
parts that are like VR to me is really, really good for Resident Evil 7 all the way through, but there are definitely moments that stand out more than others. And there was one moment where you have to push these
Oh, like the
mine carts.
Yeah, mine carts.
And there was one with a bunch of balloons, right? So I can remember like pushing the mine cart and all these balloons lifted up and popped.
Yep.
It was like pop, 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 pop. And legit, it's like I got caught with my pants down. Like they all popped and I'm in VR and I'm just like, and I'm like looking around. Did anybody hear that? It
Right.
was just like those moments, or like even moments that shouldn't be special. There's a moment where you like climb up. I think it was in the other DLC actually, where you climb up on like a crane type thing, and you're just in this weird little location. But like, just some locations look really, really good in VR versus others.
Definitely.
So
Yeah, I played in VR also for these, and it blew me away playing these games in VR. Because even little moments where I was like going, like creeping,
Yeah.
like going like this, and I think I hear something.
Yeah.
And I actually
Like,
go
look-
I actually look around the corner.
yeah,
And just seeing some psychopath there, dude. Being able to do that was so awesome.
So
Man,
cool.
okay, so I get a text from Huber. He's like, hey, Brad and I finished the Resident Evil 7 DLC. It'd be really cool if you finished the Resident Evil 7 DLC. And I knew I was going to play it, but I was like, okay, I'd like to be able to join in that conversation with them for Frame Trap. And so part of the reason I didn't play in VR, despite really loving Resident Evil 7 in VR and thinking that was a great experience, is just, I was like, I feel like I'll be much faster if I do.
Yeah,
Sure, yeah.
And so that was
100%.
part of it. But
Yeah, yeah.
based on these experiences,
There is one really important thing I want to talk about at the end of this DLC.
with Not a Hero.
Yeah.
Okay, or is this spoiler territory?
This is spoiler territory.
Okay,
This
so
is
we're gonna
about
hands
the
up.
final boss
Okay.
My
of
hands
this
up
DLC.
if you're watching.
Yes.
This made me so giddy. This is 100% a tribute to William Birkin,
Yeah.
Resident Evil 2. When he started doing his moveset, when he roared up, when he jumped on the thing high above, and I put it all, I was like, immediately, Resident Evil 2 in VR, battling this monster. I'm freaking out. It's like, culmination. I can't even handle it.
It was
and I wonder
Huber
too,
fan service.
It was. And I wonder too, because, you know, Capcom's making Resident Evil 2 remake right now, supposedly. So it's like, was there some kind of cross development there? Like, I would love
Do you
to know.
know that if you beat him in a certain way, you unlock the Resident Evil 2 remake?
Yeah.
But I loved it. That fight was the pinnacle.
It was a very cool fight. It was a very cool fight.
Is that it for spoilers?
Yeah,
Can I
we'll
put my
end it
hand
there
down?
for spoilers. I don't need to say anything specifically. If it is free if you have Resident Evil 7, give it a shot. But that fight was probably my favorite moment of the DLC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do want to move on because
Absolutely.
I actually think End of Zoe is a far more interesting piece of
Yeah.
DLC.
Yeah.
And after playing Not a Hero, my personal response to it was, yeah, that was fine.
It was fine.
You know, happy I played through it. Probably not going to stick with me for a very long period of time.
No,
Yeah.
one and done.
End of Zoe. So you're playing as Joe Baker, brother to Jack Baker, a key villain in Resident Evil 7, and the way that they present him and what you do in the DLC, you don't get weapons. You punch molded.
Yeah.
You just punch them.
Yeah.
And you've got combos that you can do. You
Yeah.
can do right, left, right. And you do an uppercut, which
Yeah.
knocks him away. You can do a left, and then you jab, jab, jab with the right. And it is hilarious, but really refreshing and different
Yeah.
and weird. And I thought about the new direction of Resident Evil 7. And I'm like, I'm glad they did something a little bit different here.
Yeah.
And that carries over, the melee combat carries over into the boss fights. The ranged weapon that you get these spears, these tree branches and scrap metal combined together. You get these throwing spears. You're throwing them at alligators. You're eating like crawdads to recover your health.
Yeah.
It had that Bayou vibe, but it leaned into it way more heavily, and I thought it had this identity and it had this spark that Not a Hero didn't have. For me personally.
Ben, playing this in VR, like freaked me out.
I can imagine.
Because the swamp, where you're in the swamp, Ben, and there's a gator, it is so tense.
Yeah.
So tense. I was like terrified when I'm moving through that swamp, Ben.
You feel it in your stomach.
The only time I let out a yelp is the first time a gator popped out of the water and snapped at me. And I also think it's cool. You have these effigies that you can find throughout the bayou.
The voodoo dolls.
Yeah. And you pick them up, and there's a champions one that'll increase your punching by 5%. By 5%, and then you have boxer ones that'll increase it by 1%, which is really cool. But it's just like these enemies that you kind of get into this very familiar pattern with, where it's like, okay, I'm gonna run, I'm gonna quick turn, I'm gonna shoot. You know, you handle them in a very Resident Evil kind of way, and then you're just like, or I could just get up in their face, punch them, rip off their head.
The neck snap.
The neck snap, so you can do stealth kills as well. You'll come up behind them, you'll rip off their neck. Very, very cool. And I also just realized that I want different settings for Resident Evil. I loved going through these bayous and seeing crocs and all of that stuff. I think that is one of the strongest aspects of Resident Evil 7 is especially those early areas where you are, yes, it's kind of evocative of the mansion from RE1, but it has this weird Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibe to it. Like, I just want this series to go different places.
Absolutely. When you, are we spoilers? I mean, we already spoiled it.
We spoiled what?
With Jack. That's kind of a spoiler.
He's on the cover of the DLC.
Joe is.
Oh.
But Jack.
We didn't... I just said he was the brother.
Yeah, but him like being the villain is kind of...
Yeah, but we didn't say that. You just did.
Shit.
I could have
I swear Ben did.
I know. I definitely said, all right.
Rip.
I'm going to put a spoiler warning in the description.
Yeah, make sure he has spoiler warning.
I'm going to put a spoiler warning in the description.
Okay, but I did. But now that we're down that road, one of my favorite parts was rediscovering the house and what the umbrella had done with like the tents and stuff, like tenting it up. I thought that was really cool, and then just kind of like, like thinking of Resident Evil 7 base game, and then thinking of the future DLC of End of Zoe, like that time jump kind of the couple weeks later. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
Did anyone else think Joe was really funny? Because I did.
Oh, Joe was hilarious.
He's like, come on. He's like, punching.
So good.
He ain't afraid of nothing, man.
Yeah, so as I mentioned it before, you're picking up different critters like centipedes and crawdads and stuff, and when you eat them, like when he just rips it in half, shoves it in his mouth, not bad. And it's just like, you have so much personality to you. It's, yeah, it was a blast.
It was just a weird left turn. I didn't know what this DLC was about. And I found out I was punching stuff. I was like, whoa, this is awesome.
Yeah, I had no idea. Until I experienced it, I had no idea that I was going to be punching stuff.
Just brawling against the boss was so fun, dude. He's got this eyeball staring at you, and he lifts
in
you
VR,
up.
it was super intense.
You're just like punching him. So good.
And honestly, I think this only added to the charm. So there are doors, or basically barricades with yellow X's across them.
Yeah.
And the only way to get through them is if you're poor Joe just hitting them with your fist. Like, you just have to keep banging on these barricades until they blow open. And it felt more like some sort of 3D brawler than what I would traditionally expect from it.
It's like a Resident Evil beat 'em up almost.
Yeah. And I don't know if you guys felt this way, but I was mentioning to my girlfriend who was watching me play, I was like, this is really perfect for the length of this DLC. I don't know if I'd want to do a whole game of this.
Yeah.
Right.
But I do think for this size, it's absolutely perfect.
And just a nice little bow. Like, all the banned footage DLCs, like, if you look at all the DLC for Resident Evil 7, like, it is so much, and they are all so different. Like, they just took so many chances. There's the one where you have to play, like, blackjack. There's like the birthday party one. There's like a horde survival mode one. Like
So I haven't done the banned footage yet.
Oh.
So I've
Yeah,
just
neither
done
have
Not a
I.
Hero and End of Zoe.
they're really good.
Yeah.
And they're just little slices and little bit more context.
story, yeah.
Little different.
I will say this, though. I think I finished Not a Hero in an hour 40.
Yeah.
And I finished End of Zoe a little quicker than that. At the end of Not a Hero, I was like, okay, that was really short, but it was free.
Yeah.
With End of Zoe, I was like, boy, I try not to get hung up on length. It's more about the quality of the experience. But
Yeah.
for $15...
15's a lot.
15's a lot for as quick as you go through that. It's hard
Yeah.
for me to imagine you not playing End of Zoe
Yeah.
in a very brief one-sitting period
Yeah.
of time. And, like, I don't know. I think that whole thing would be easier to swallow if it was, like, $8 or $10
Yeah.
or less than
definitely.
that.
I mean, they kind of alleviate it with the gold edition for people that have not
Right.
bought Resident Evil, but for people that bought it early, like
Yeah.
that kind of hurts.
I think it's also rough because, in my opinion, it's the better of the two.
Yeah.
And, if I had to recommend one over the other, I would
Paygate,
definitely
baby.
End of Zoe. So, with both DLCs, you kind of have a lot of bows tied on the Resident Evil 7 story. Where do you want Resident Evil to go from here? And this is something that we talked about when we talked about Resident Evil 7 when it came out, what your thoughts were on it. But now that you've had some time to process, now that you've had some distance away from Resident Evil 7, and now that you've kind of played everything that they're going to give you,
Yeah.
what do you want?
I would love another first person Resident Evil. So Resident Evil 8, I would like it for it to be first person. And I would like it. I mean, you always run into this problem with sequels. Is like, oh, we got to have more action. We got to have more of everything. And it's like, you can get into trouble with that. That Resident Evil 5 did that to 4, 6 did it to 5.
yeah.
It's like they keep adding more and it devalues it. So it's like they have to find a perfect balance of the pace, like Resident Evil 7 playing as Ethan, Resident Evil 7 playing as Chris. Find a nice middle ground there somehow, Like, I really liked the white molded in Not a Hero.
Yes.
Having to switch the ammo, making that ammo really rare, it taking a while to switch over to it.
Yep, I totally agree with that.
Definitely onto something there. When there's... I imagined so many places in my head. It's like, dude, if you take this away from the farm, if you go to like some crazy hospital or like,
No.
some
Please
like,
no.
base or something, or just put it in another location, but finding a middle ground between the pace and the action of Not a Hero and the base game.
Yeah.
So, something that End of Zoe taught me, and we kind of touched on this earlier, is how awesome I think it is to develop new stories, new people to get attached to within the Resident Evil universe. I thought the Baker family was really interesting.
Yeah.
I really liked Ethan's story. And I really, really like Joe Baker a lot.
Joe
We
Baker.
talked about how hilarious and fun he was to play as.
Yeah.
And so I really think going forward, obviously you have this huge legacy to do with Resident Evil that a lot of people care about and are invested in. I still think you can make good on that while kind of following the example that Resident Evil set of introducing new characters. What I would like to see, so before I appeared on this podcast, I just finished up episode 2 of Resident Evil Revelations 2 on Switch, and I'm having a great time with that. I think I would love to see kind of like a switch off. It's like, okay, this year we're doing Revelations. It's going to be smaller. Even episodic I'm okay with, where you're playing as characters that you know in a style that you're familiar with, and you're getting crucial story components revealed to you. And then for the next mainline Resident Evil, we're going to go off and we're going to do some big, bold new changes with different characters. Is that something that you would feel okay about?
Yeah, I mean, Resident Evil 2 Remake is next. I've said this so many times where it's like you're in such a nice position as Capcom at like this franchise is in the best possible place right now. You have first person with the newer games. You have the third person with Revelations, and that's kind of a callback to 4, 5, and 6. And Resident Evil 2 Remake has the possibility of being fixed cameras. So it's like you can have all of the eras of Resident Evil in development coming out, one at a time. Like, it is perfect. You can do it all. You can appease every type of Resident Evil fan there is. And I think that's special. I think that's really awesome.
I got 2 questions for you. The first question is, do you think the Resident Evil 2 remake will give us new information in regards to the universe?
New info?
New info. Do you think there's going to be either as we're going through the game as we know it, we find new information, or there's going to be a little bonus in there?
What if they add stuff to connect with 6 more?
Oh my gosh.
Like there's like some file that it says like Simmons in it.
I'm hoping because Wesker is dead, he's alive in 2, and like he's manipulating Ada from the shadows. I'm hoping there's a little more there.
Where him like at the computer,
yeah,
talking to Ada
like
or something.
If you could throw in Wesker a little nod, that'd be really cool.
And I don't think that's it. I could see that happening.
It's not even outlandish.
Yeah, it's not even outlandish.
Because Legendary added
Lisa
Trevor,
and
that
stuff
whole
was
plot line.
great.
Yeah, awesome.
It was good. All right, Brad, I'm going to throw this at you. And I'm going to use one of your favorite series as an example.
Okay.
Something that I hate to see. So we're talking about it, and we're like, man, okay, they can go all of these different, they can serve multiple people at the same time, and that's beautiful. That's an ideal world. We see a lot of times where companies try to take and expand series or cater to different audiences, and they just end up failing all of those directions. Sometimes what a series needs most is focus. There's definitely been times with Kingdom Hearts where I'm like, I feel like I am in a sea of filler with like little tidbits thrown in here and there.
Absolutely.
And I want the meat.
Yeah.
So, Brad, do you think that you're worried about that with Resident Evil? With the current direction that Capcom is going, do you trust them?
Yeah, dude, like that, it went off the deep end already for me with RE6. It went crazy. That was it, dude. That was it. When the guy turned into a dinosaur, at the end I was like, okay,
Simmons.
Who cares about you? What is going on? Why am I even here? This is done.
That fight
That
is
was it,
terrible.
dude. That was it. I was out.
Yeah. But that, oh my God. I'm sorry, I'm freaking out about how good the lore is of Resident Evil. Because, like, that is the old way, right? Of, like, bioweaponry, of biotech and BOWs, of, like, these large-scale, crazy mutants that can be dropped in, Nemesis, Mr. X, like, drop in, destroy everyone in its path.
Yeah.
Versus now 7, and, like, our current climate of, like, in the shadows. Like, Evelyn is all about, like, mind control, you know? Controlling people from the shadows, controlling them, and, like, that... expanding on that idea in Resident Evil 8, these monsters that are way more, like, manipulative and intelligent, like, that is so cool.
Yeah, because
I love that.
Jack's kind of like the nemesis of that game.
Kind of, yeah.
Like, he's chasing you throughout the whole game. He's busting through
Totally.
walls.
There are still those big monsters, but, like, Evelyn is the prized possession of everyone out there. Like, that is a game changer to the BOW, like, climate.
Yeah.
So all these people vying for her tech is such a cool thing, where if you have all these organizations, like, battling for that, oh, it's so cool.
This is something that I think Resident Evil has tried to do multiple times, where they've tried to make sort of these bio super weapons have a more personal take. I think you even see it a lot in 6, but I think 7 accomplished it much, much, much better with the Baker family, where they were showing how what is going on affected them so much as a family, and all of the trauma that they went through. And I think Zoe was a good conduit for that, like her talking to you and explaining the situation and explaining kind of the hell that she's going through. And I loved that. I think part of the fun of Resident Evil is unraveling the conspiracy, but I think that unraveling that conspiracy is so much more meaningful when you can actually see it having an effect on people.
Yeah.
And so I hope that is something that they do even better than they did in 7 in Resident Evil 8.
Absolutely. Good times.
Good times.
Good times to be a fan.
All right. Let's get nuts. Let's do one more. We've been going on for a long time with this Resident Evil conversation, and that's okay, because this is a Brad and Huber episode. But, Huber, this is something you've talked about a lot, and I think maybe you've just planted the idea in my brain. Do you think there's going to be a remake to demo? When is it going to show up?
Oh, dude, here we go.
Okay. It's always a good thing now. Like, the Resident Evil 7 train is done, you know? So it's like, hoping for Resident Evil 2 maybe was ill-advised on my part, as Resident Evil 7 was still going. They didn't want to, like, distract and take the focus off.
Yeah.
Now that 7 is done, all done, Resident Evil 2 Remake is the next logical step. They announced it over 2 years ago. It's been it's been almost like 2.5 years. Will there be a demo? I don't know. Man, I don't know, dude. I don't even know. I don't know. Do I want a demo? Yes.
Hubert.
Resident Evil has a legacy of demos, which is cool.
Yeah. It is a very strong legacy.
It has a very
of
strong
demos.
legacy of demos. In this current climate, could there be a demo? My odds say no. My heart says yes. I think PT, Silent Hills really changed the game with what a demo can be. If they went down that road of like some standalone Resident Evil 2 type thing, that would be really cool and something I'd be interested in. But will they do the exact same thing they did with Resident Evil Director's Cut and just have the beginning Raccoon City part as a demo? I don't think so.
Yeah, I thought it'd be standalone if they do one. That seems to be kind of their trend now.
Yeah.
Get some buzz right there, man.
I know.
Get some hype going. Like, think of all the hype that came in when that demo came out.
I know.
Just a little something. Like, even they did the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
They did something like that, too. I think they're kind of into that. Like, teasing a little.
True, they did beginning hour demo.
Yeah.
They did.
It's possible.
It is possible.
I want to believe. I
E3's
choose to
coming.
believe.
E3's coming 6 months out. But also, like, the only thing holding me back here, the only reason I'm doubting a demo is because they've said how close Resident Evil 2 Remake is to release. They're like, yeah, we've been working on it. It's coming out soon. Like, one of the main producers, when he was doing an interview with Collider about the newest anime movie,
Yeah.
he was like, yeah, we're also making Resident Evil 2 Remake, which will be out pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm not, and maybe that's true. I just
Like-
immediately think to Miyamoto saying, like, "Hey, Pikmin 4 is on the way." Like, yeah, it's right around the
Yeah,
corner.
like
True,
Japanese companies just say that.
yeah, I just,
Yeah.
well, give me a date
Yeah.
and we'll talk.
Just give me a screenshot. for crying out
Right.
loud.
That's the thing is,
Yeah.
it's hard to believe the soon when we've gotten nothing.
Well,
Zero.
think about this, Hubert. They announced Resident Evil 7 at E3.
Yeah.
Then it came out, January?
January.
It's less than a year.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're waiting to do when it's like a year away at least, or maybe a little less. They'll drop a bomb on it. That seems
Yeah.
to be their kind of trend now.
I think you're right, Brad. I think if you look at kind of how they've been doing, like even Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite,
That's what
the
Capcom
span of
is
time
doing right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Announce
with
it
you completely.
E3, release it in January 2019.
Well, that's gonna be Devil May Cry 5. They're gonna do that with.
Devil May Cry 5 is coming, man. It's
PSX
coming.
like saddened me, but also like released me from the pain and torment
shackles, yeah.
of just begging for Shenmue HD and Resident Evil 2. At this point, I'm in a zen-like state. Whenever they come,
Whenever they come.
I'm good.
Well, I think it's easy to be in that zen-like state when there's so much good stuff to play
Yeah.
through.
Mm-hmm.
Like
And
it's
that-
hard to
and that,
like.
never mind. Spoiler.
Here, let's just wash all of that anxiety about those things that you care about so much away. Like Dragon Quest XI's coming, you know. It's easy to forget about that. That was something that we wanted so badly for so long, and now I think we're almost taking it for granted.
Yeah,
that
we
it's
are.
on the way.
Absolutely.
We're not talking about it on this episode, Ed, but we will be talking about it, I imagine, quite a bit once it launches. I just want to know from you personally, Michael Huber, I'm sorry to put you on the spot during the podcast. You were not able to play Monster Hunter World PS Plus beta. There's a second beta. I can't stream it, unfortunately, because I'm going to
Second
be at a
beta's
spot.
coming?
Yeah, the 22nd to the 26th, till 9 a.m. on the 26th. For everybody, whether you have PS Plus or not.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, it's like that's Christmas Eve
I just
time.
would like
Woo.
to at least do one hunt with you. I can't stream it,
Yeah.
unfortunately, because I will be at a place where I will physically be unable to stream, but I would like to at
I
least do a
pinky
hunt.
swear.
You pinky swear.
I pinky swear.
Live on air.
Live on air.
Got people
this
watching.
will go down.
This will go down
One-
sometime between the 22nd and the 26th of December 2017.
The 22nd and the 23rd are better.
That's
Christmas
fine.
Eve and Christmas are not good.
Better for me, too.
Okay.
Let's get this. Brad, you want in on this?
I'm not pinky swearing. I'm not pinky
Boom.
swearing.
He's
that.
not pinky swearing.
I played it, the demo
All
or
right.
the beta already.
You did.
100%.
Brad already did play the beta. That's
What's the
true.
giant axe that can turn into the sword and shield?
Charge blade.
The Charge Blade, yeah.
Charge
so
Blade.
you've got.
Sign me up.
Okay.
Charge blade.
All right.
I'm not even like gonna use any other weapon.
What
I'm not even
about
gonna
the
try
Switch
'em.
Axe?
Charge blade.
We've talked about this. Some people just stick to one weapon. Like you and me
Yeah,
always
yeah.
try out new
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Some
Charge
people are just like locked in.
Oh, that's
locked
fine. If
in.
you want the Charge Blade, I'm not against it.
locked in.
It's probably like it's an insane weapon. It's really cool. It's really, really, really cool, and you're gonna have a good time with it.
I feel like it's a good support weapon too.
It's the charge blade is a really good weapon. It takes some time to get used to.
Yeah.
There are some mechanics with it that you have to deal with that might seem a little strange at first, but maybe you'll just click to it right away and it'll be fine. I don't know.
Nice.
But
Hell yeah.
yeah.
Thank you,
Let's
Capcom.
do it. Let's do it.
Capcom,
22nd through the 26th.
doing work.
Yeah. I want to be excited about Capcom again. You know what is really going to do it for me? What is going to send the message, I think, almost more than anything in a weird way? Like, how good is Mega Man 11 going to be?
I hope
How
it's
good
really
is Mega
good,
Man
yeah.
11 going to be?
Yeah. I'm going to choose to believe it's going to be good.
Yeah.
I choose to believe it'll be good.
I choose
Yeah.
to believe that it's going to be good.
It'll be fun. We'll have a good time.
I think we live in an era of video games where we can choose to believe that something is going to be good, and I think we're going to be more often right than
Like,
we are wrong.
it can't be worse than Mighty Number 9.
No, it can't be.
It
You know
won't
what's so sad about Mighty Number 9, though, is the writing was on the wall for that,
We knew.
and then it was worse than even the writing suggested.
We knew.
Yeah.
Remember the first screenshot they showed? It was that like 2D
Yeah.
stylized art.
Yeah.
So cool.
There was a lot of hope writing on that.
That first image, man.
We are getting very off track, though. We're 45 minutes
Yeah, I just
into the
got
show.
sad.
Yeah, I got sad, too.
It's all right. Resident Evil 2 remake's coming, guys. I can't wait for you guys to play it.
Probably 7 remakes coming
Like, when's the
someday,
last time you guys played Resident Evil 2? Yeah.
I don't even know how long.
2?
Like,
Yeah.
actually beating 2, I don't know how long it's been.
2's probably been, like...
Like 10 years, probably, huh?
Probably not that long, but like 6.
Yeah.
Maybe? I don't know. It's been a long time.
Nice,
It's been a long
dude.
time for. You know, I played
Remake.
through. You know what I played through Resident Evil 2 on? I played it on N64. That's what I played.
Oh,
that's,
great
a, that's a
version.
heavy cart, man.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
It's a heavy
Oh,
It
yeah.
is. Notice it's actually physically heavier
That's
than
awesome.
a lot of
Mm-hmm.
other C4 carts. Because we're talking about Mega Man, I just want to throw this in here. I've been playing a lot of 20XX. It's a game I talked about at PSX
Oh, yeah.
Impressions. And I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I do want to throw this at you a little bit. So 20XX is this roguelike Mega Man game. That is the way to sell it. It's a roguelike, more specifically Mega Man X
Roguelike
game.
Mega Man.
Yeah. Yeah. I talked about it during PSX Impressions.
Ears are perking.
Dude, okay. $15 on Steam.
Yeah.
If just the very idea sounds good to you. I think
Roguelike
it
Mega
is-
Man is music to my ears.
If that is music to your ears, if you're like Michael Huber, I think it is worth the price of admission for that alone.
Dude.
So what it is, and it gets even better, and I think you guys should do a stream.
Yeah.
You can do local and online co-op where somebody is
What?
basically playing as X, Nina in 20XX, and somebody else playing as Zero, Ace in 20XX. But they are functionally the same. You have a Beam Saber as Ace. You have a Mega Buster as Nina. And yeah, you can play online co-op. And the way that it works is when you do a run, so let's say you've never done a run before, you do a run, you get thrown into a random stage. There are 8 sort of, robot masters that you have to get through. You're thrown into a random stage, and you go through the stage, and throughout the run, as you complete stages, the stages will get harder. So you might do one robot master stage very early on, and you're like, oh, this is a breeze, you fly through it. The next run, you do that at the end of your run, it'll be significantly harder. And obviously, every time you play, things mix up a little bit. That applies to the bosses as well. So you might fight a boss the first time. There's this guy. It's basically like this like hamster thing in a wheel. He'll fly at you. He'll shoot circular saw blades. If you fight him very, very early on, you just deplete his life bar. It's gone. If you fight him like kind of in the mid to mid-late part of the run, or at least from my experience, he'll split into 2 forms after you defeat his health bar. So there'll be 2 mini versions of him.
Sick.
You do him at the end. The 2 versions will split into 2 smaller versions. So you've got like all of these fights are changing and getting harder over time as you do them.
Yeah.
When you go through a level, you beat a boss, you get the option of either taking the boss weapon, which is good against one other specific boss,
Of course.
or you can do other things like, oh, I want currency to buy more items, or I want a passive buff, like more damage to my regular attack or more damage to my boss weapons. You then get to go and you get to pick who you're going to fight next. You get 3 robot masters to choose from. They're basically randomly presented to you, or at least that is what it seems. And so if you're like, oh, okay, the boss weapon that I could get here isn't useful against any of these guys, I might pick something else. Or you can decide to yourself, like, okay, maybe that'll be useful down the line, and you pick it anyway. So you're constantly making decisions like that. your health does not recover between stages. Neither does the energy that you use between for boss weapons. None of that recovers between stages. And so, we got to we beat the 8 bosses, and then we got to the final section of the game, or the second to last section of the game, and we were just running low on resources.
Yeah.
And so it's really interesting to think about that, because you don't have that crutch to rely on. We really have to be careful. There are challenge rooms as you're going through. And one of those, there's different challenges that you can do in these challenges rooms. It's kill every enemy in here really, really quickly. Well, your boss weapons are really good at doing that. But if you use those boss weapons in the challenge room, you're not going to be able to use that for the bosses.
When you die, though, do you keep your stuff?
No. When you die, here's what happens. So there are 2 currencies. There are nuts, which you can use to buy items and stuff like that throughout your run that provide those passive bonuses, but those only apply to your run.
Oh.
You also collect soul chips.
Soul chips.
Yes. So when you die, you can go and you can spend those soul chips to unlock 3 different things, and one of those things are permanent unlocks, where it's I will now be, with this upgrade, I will always have this benefit throughout future runs.
Cool.
Which is really useful.
How are the designs? I know it's a roguelike. How is the design of going through a level? Is it satisfying?
Yeah, so I have a little bit of a mixed feeling on it. As I was doing the stages, in my beginning experience with 20XX, I was very impressed, where I felt like the challenges that I was doing were very Mega Man-esque and very satisfying and fun to do, very tricky timing-based platforming, where it's I've got to do a cool dash jump to get through this, or, there's a secret in there, but I have to get through kind of this maze of pain in order to get it, and it was cool.
Maze of pain.
Yes.
Maze of Pain.
The problem
Can we trademark that one, man?
Sounds like a Megadeth album.
I did quite a few runs, and I was playing with I played alone, and then I was playing with a friend, and we got very far. And as the stages went on, it was technically different, but I felt like a lot of the platforming challenges felt very similar. And so they did start to bleed together a little bit, where it was this stage doesn't feel that much different from the last stage. There's just a few more enemies, and the platforming challenges are a little bit more tricky. However, something I will say is, because of the random nature of it, you have points where you get extremely excited. There are these boots, there are these hover boots, and if you tap A second time in the air, you can just float, and that completely trivializes certain challenges. And so you have those moments where you get really excited. All of the gear that you get, so you can put gear on your head, your chest, your arms, and your legs, is color-coded. If you get a fully color-coded set, you get an additional bonus for having that set, which is really, really cool. My other really big complaint, the music is fantastic, and I can't overemphasize how good it feels to control. It is really, really, really good. I mean, some of the platforming challenges they're asking you to do are pretty intense. They demand precision. You have the tightness needed to do that stuff, which I think is so important, especially when the punishment is so hard. If you die, that's it. Your run is over. Noise, I think, in terms of recognizing what is going on. So especially if you're playing co-op, right? Your friend has his basic attacks, and then he's got his boss weapon attacks, and then you have multiple enemies shooting out different projectiles as well. There were definitely times where I got hit by something, and I was wait, I can't even tell where that was coming from. Sometimes you just look at the screen, and it's oh my god. Even during boss fights, there are a lot of almost bullet hell
colors, just going
things
everywhere.
Going on, and I wish there was a way for them to kind of communicate, okay, this is coming from an ally, I don't need to worry about it. This is coming from an enemy, I totally need to worry about it. Yeah.
Thought it'd be color coordinated or something.
Well, it's just you and him are sharing the same screen, and it's it's not yes, he has I was playing as Nina, he was playing as Ace. Yes, he has beam slashes, but when it came to boss weapons, right? There would be times where he'd be shooting the ice and it'd be reflecting, and the reflections of the ice would blend in with the boss projectiles, and it just got a little.
Oh, I gotcha.
It's one of those things where it's
crowded.
If I were to pause and look at the screen, I could probably parse it out. But in the moment where you need to make split-second decisions, it can be a little confusing figuring out what's going on.
Minor syndrome here. Do you guys remember what the name? Please remember the name. There was a Metroidvania Souls game that was in early access a while back. Do you guys remember the name of this game?
Metroidvania Souls game?
Yeah, it was very Souls-like. It was early access. We were so hyped on it.
Is it EITR?
Maybe.
Is it that sort of like sprite-based?
Yeah. It wasn't Sword and Sanctuary or Salt and Sanctuary. It wasn't.
No.
It was the other one. It was like Metroidvania. It was very Souls-like. It was early access.
Because there's Dead Cells, but that's not really Souls-like.
Maybe Dead Cells, actually.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I guess there are some Soulsian aspects to Dead Cells.
I think it was Dead Cells, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry.
That's
The
okay.
Metroidvania
Yeah.
Mega Man style just made
Yeah.
me think about that.
Metroidvania
And,
roguelike.
like, they're hot right now, and I love it.
Yeah.
Dead Cells, though. Has that
What-
came out yet?
Dead Cells in my So I played Dead Cells when it was early access. I still believe it is in
Yeah.
early access, but
Okay.
I'm not 100% confident.
And
about
like everyone's super hyped on that one, right? It's like super good. Okay.
Yeah. That is one that
Like on the radar.
Yes, on the yes,
Okay.
definitely that should be on the radar.
Did you play it?
No.
I think we talked about it.
I don't know
Maybe a while
what
back.
this is.
Okay.
What I like about 20XX though is it's like, yes, it's got this roguelike element. Yes, there are Metroidvania aspects to it, but it's so much more Mega Man than anything else. Where it's just taking this idea of Mega Man and inserting these other elements to kind of mix it up.
As long as it has the flow and movement of Mega Man,
Yes.
I
Do
think
you
that'd be a
guys-
huge advantage.
Yeah, do you guys want Mega Man to go more Metroidvania in the future, or do you like
I like
more...
the designed out stages personally.
Okay.
Like how they craft them out, I like.
Yeah.
But I mean, never know.
The thing with Mega Man, and it's always so interesting when you have a series that's in this position. Like, I think when you're so starved for a series like we have been with Mega Man, where there really hasn't been a mainline official Mega Man release since 2010, like, yes, you could come back and do something crazy, but come back, do the not so crazy thing really, really well, and then go from there. Like, I think about like MK9 and MKX, right? Where you had Mortal Kombat 9, which was definitely kind of like a retelling of the stories, reestablish your presence.
Yeah.
And then go from there, and then do different things.
Yeah.
I don't think everybody has to follow that approach, but I think that would be wise for Mega Man. But I like that I can kind of get these different ideas from independent games.
Yeah.
Like, I just envision a Brad and Huber stream of 20XX and how
Yeah,
much
it sounds
fun that would
badass.
be.
Yeah, it's going down.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Love
happen.
roguelikes.
Yeah, and you know, we speak very highly of Rogue Legacy, and what I love about Rogue Legacy is I feel like I've been playing a lot of games where it's like, okay, this is going to take me at least a month to get through, where I have to play a good amount every day or as often as I can in order to get through this. There have been a lot of those types of games. I remember Rogue Legacy being like, I'm going to be obsessed with this, but I'm going to play it in like a day. And that's exactly what I did.
Yep.
And I feel like 20XX has been pretty much the exact same experience for me.
Nice.
Where it'll be really intense. It will be a hard-fought victory to see that and to get through it.
Yeah.
But it's not demanding. weeks
Exactly,
weeks
and
of
that's
your
why I
time.
love roguelikes is because like I love that type of difficulty where it's really hard. You know, you have to try the whole way through no matter what, even when you're buff as hell. Like if you die a lot and you keep like, you know, carrying over your roguelike stuff, it's still hard as hell. But still the psychological effect of I died, but I didn't waste my time because I still get to carry some stuff over to the next run. I just really appreciate that. Whereas, you know, other games, like I'm thinking of Hand of Fate 2, where it's like you're doing a run against a boss,
Right.
and the RNG doesn't go your way, and you completely lose the fight, and you just spent 45 minutes on this run, and you don't get anything out of it. And that, in today's climate of so many great games, so many things to play, it's like, I kind of had fun, but now that I lost, like, you kind of just wasted my time for 45 minutes. Like, I don't get to carry anything over. Like, what did I just do for 45 minutes?
It's so funny that you bring that up because I feel like I've been experiencing that recently, and I did experience it with 20XX, where I think when you get defeated in a game, even if you get defeated brutally,
Yeah.
as long as you have the sense of, well, I could have changed my strategy. There are things that I could have done. Whatever it is, however it conjures the feeling of, I think I can beat that.
Yeah.
That's great. Whenever you have the feeling of, oh, the numbers just didn't roll my
numbers
way,
didn't-
it's the
exactly.
kind of defeat where you just want to put it down
Yeah.
and try something else, and you
Yeah.
just feel like that wasn't in the cards, and I just wasted my time.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, the deck was stacked against me, and it's just extremely infuriating because in 20XX, you were talking about the crafted stages of Mega Man, right? going through the 8 Robot Masters of Mega Man, there are usually stages that are going to be harder for you than others, but I think it's because those stages, by and large, are offering different challenges. That's not universally true in Mega Man, but I think the general philosophy is true. In 20XX, I do kind of feel like each stage is sort of asking the same thing of you, and then it just has points like, okay, stage 6, huge spike. Stage 8, huge spike. And so you're kind of cruising through the game until it arbitrarily just gets really, really hard. Like, there's not a nice curve there.
Yeah.
It's just sudden and very sharp, which is disappointing.
Would you... So, I know for you and me at least, actually all of us love this, but Shovel Knight helped fill kind of that gap for me of like a Mega Man game kind of. Would you want Mega Man to take ideas from Shovel Knight? Like, let's say the kind of the world map, and you're going through, you go to like somewhere to buy stuff, or like instead of just picking all your Robot Masters, you're going from stage to stage.
I think there is something that I like in 20XX that I also like in Shovel Knight that I think would be perfect in Mega Man, where, like, you know, you kind of get in the mentality of like, okay, I'm going through this, what's weak to what? And, you know, the boss weapons have sometimes utility beyond boss fights in Mega Man, but I like in Shovel Knight getting those different upgrades, like having a shot being like, okay, let me play around a little bit.
Like a Zelda item almost.
Right, and you know, you've got the rush stuff in Mega Man. You've got like Rush Coil and Rush Jet, but I think having more tools, or like you beat a boss and it's like, okay, you can get the boss weapon and that's going to make this upcoming fight or certain sections way easier, but here are other options that maybe you want to consider instead. I think that could be an intriguing idea as well.
Cool.
Yeah. Brad, I want to throw something at you about Shovel Knight.
Throw it at me.
Maybe this isn't fair. I love Shovel Knight. I adore Shovel Knight. I've reviewed Shovel Knight, given it and the DLC very high scores. When I play through Shovel Knight, I always have a good time, but there are sections where I'm like, I wish this was just like a smidge harder.
Sure, I can see that.
way?
Yeah, for sure I can see that. I feel like the game's pretty lenient, especially when you die, you know. You just lose money.
Yeah.
But you don't have to reset usually the whole stage, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Especially when old Mega Man games, like, you die, that's it. You got to do it all over kind of thing.
Right.
But yeah, I think this is their first kind of game, you know, doing that.
Right.
I think they'll learn a lot from they've clearly learned a lot from their DLCs. Like, especially Spectre Knight DLC was fantastic. So, yeah, I think they'll tune up a lot of that stuff.
Brad, you've got a game that I've had absolutely zero desire to play, haven't played, Hero played, did not like. You played through the Battlefront 2 campaign.
I forgot about this.
I think this is a lot right there.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm jumping the gun a little bit.
No. I mean, that's a fair statement. So
I just want to apologize to Joel as we dive into this discussion.
Why are we apologizing to Joel?
Joel went to the Easy Allies meetup.
Oh, was that the guy that was mad at you for like Battlefront?
He's a big fan of Battlefront. He's like, you know,
yeah, I remember talking to him.
He feels bad, but he was like hurt by our hate of Battlefront.
There's something that I want to clear the air about really quickly, and we've said it before, but I think we could say it again. We love a lot of games. I think something that Easy Allies is guilty of, and the whole is, you know, we do tend to talk positively about games, but because we love games and we're playing them all the time, and we hope that based on what you see, that's enough evidence. But like, the most important thing is that we're genuine with these opinions.
Yeah.
And sometimes those opinions are going to be sharply negative. And I just don't want to ever get to a point where it's like, oh, you know, we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings with these opinions.
Yeah.
And it's
I'm just saying, sorry, Joel, we're going to shit on Battlefront right now. Like, it's going down.
Right, exactly. It is going down. And you know what? I don't think any less of Joel. Doesn't mean I don't want to talk to Joel.
Man.
I don't care. If there's a game that I hate and you love and vice versa, that's totally fine. I had a conversation on Twitter with somebody that was like, you know what? I think Final Fantasy 15 is total dog shit, and here's why. That's the whole point. It's a conversation. These talks, whether we like something, don't like something, it's not law. I get really, really sick of this idea that there is a correct opinion on video games.
Yeah.
That, you know, if somebody gets on this podcast and they're like, hey, I don't think Nier's very good. Yeah. I want that opinion. That's an interesting opinion. There's nothing wrong with that. They're not being fake. It's not that they don't understand. It's just don't like the game.
Yeah. And also, fine. Just because you don't like it,
right,
doesn't mean it's bad.
Doesn't mean it's bad. it doesn't mean it's bad.
Doesn't mean it's bad.
Yep. And man, it just, if that is how you're going to present yourself, if you're going to treat your world as law,
IGN though is law.
IGN is law. That's true.
True.
That's
Yeah.
IGN.
Whatever they say
IGN
is law.
Yeah.
Brad, we're getting off topic. I'm going on.
Oh, that's okay.
Fucking
I mean,
grandstanding
it's not a
rant.
game I'm like burning to talk about necessarily.
Yeah. Hit me with Battlefront 2.
So people know I am a big Star Wars fan. I was like, the campaign, like many, was missing from the first game. We're all like, why is there no campaign? Whatever. 2, they make good on it. They're kind of like, I think they're kind of like delivering it. Like, aren't you glad we made a campaign for 2 now? Is that right? That's the kind of impression I got from this. Mm-hmm. It was just boring, dude. So boring. I was just bored, man. Like, so I love Star Wars, man.
So boring. I just don't understand how DICE can make such boring campaigns. I think of Battlefield 3, which was just like a level horde mode type thing. But then in Battlefield 4, they did a full-on campaign. And it's just this, like, you're just going through shooting galleries. You know, you're going down these paths with no stakes, no context. People are just coming out of, like, monster closets, just, like, running towards you, not even shooting, just the worst AI possible.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
I think what's so upsetting about it is how painfully, like, it is the definition of empty calories. Like, I've played through the Battlefront 3 campaign, and pretty much, like, I started the Battlefront 4 or Battlefield 4 campaign, didn't want to continue because it's just nothing. There's not even enough there. There's not enough there to get, like, sufficiently mad about.
Yeah.
It is turn your mind off. You will not challenge me in any way. It is like, I can get through all of this by, like, impulse and muscle memory.
Yeah.
Like, just play with me a little bit.
A little bit.
Just play with me
Or at least make the story awesome.
Yeah, the game, like, attempts to have you connect with these mostly these 2 characters. I just say I don't even remember their names anymore.
Aiden Versio.
Which one was that? Was that the girl?
Yeah.
Who you play as in the meantime? Yeah, like her whole relationship, like working with her father, who's high up in the
Admiral.
Admiral in the Empire Army. Then them just kind of being like, oh, well, this is bad. They're hurting our people. Like, you've done bad stuff for probably years. You have no problem with planets blowing up. But as soon as you see some civilians on your planet getting off, they're like, no, man, this sucks. Bleh.
Yeah.
Kind of thing like that. Dude,
what I want to know
part
is
where you play as Luke, okay?
I was just going to
It's
ask you,
early.
how do you
And
fuck this up?
Luke has the most jacked up face I've ever seen. I saw his face bent, and I was like, how did they do this? How does he look like this? How can you mess this up when you have such a talented team?
How do you mess
so
this up?
bad. It
you know
looked
what-
nothing like him.
Do you know what you do as Luke Skywalker? You stand in a cave attacking tiny little bug spiders that crawl around. That's all you do.
Well, you fight some stormtroopers at the beginning. It's not great, but there is a part where there's someone is like working on something and you defend them. And there's like weird bugs. And it's like, it's not really what I want to do. You know, as Luke,
Right.
it's not what I want to do. I don't want to hit like stupid bugs. Just missed opportunities. A story. I like that they try to tie it into after Return of the Jedi. That's all kind of cool. And
Cool premise.
They show the Battle of Jakku, which is like a thing that's in the movies. They reference, and in the first Battlefront, there's a map for it. But even like the ship levels, I was talking to you about this. I was like, oh, it was kind of cool at first. Mm-hmm. I was like, it's not like Rogue Squadron, but it kind of gave me a little vibes because it's been a while since I've flown through that. But even that's boring.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about how they're like, we got TIE fighters coming in.
Yeah.
Then you get rid of those TIE fighters and like, got more TIE fighters coming in.
The objectives, and I think of like Call of Duty. Like, sure, the objectives in Call of Duty are simple, but I still can get behind them. You're like in the trench, you're shooting Nazis, and your guy is like, we gotta get to that tower, like get up to that tower. There's an urgency.
Yes.
You know what you're doing. There's an objective. It's like, all right, gotta get up in that tower. Then you get up in the tower, and it's like, our troops are getting annihilated. Like, snipe those guys over there, and you're like sniping and stuff. They like set up these scenarios and objectives that have a sense of urgency and that are fun to get behind, not just shoot the TIE fighters.
Right. Exactly.
Shoot more TIE fighters.
Exactly.
It's like...
It's fine if your objectives are simple, but So I played Battlefront 2. They for having EA access, whatever the hell it is, Origin, some stuff. You can play it early. You can play like 3 missions early, and the last mission I did was the ship one, and I was so excited because I'm like, okay, this kind of feels cool. It looks gorgeous. But you're right, Huber. When you paint the targets on the thing and you just go shoot the TIE fighters, that has to have some sort of flow to it. You can't just be like, okay, now we're going to go here, we're going to do this, now we're going to go here, we're going to do this, and it's like you're just doing the same thing over and over. Yeah. Whereas what I have played of Call of Duty World War II, I think about the objectives I'm doing, get to this point, kill this thing, hold off this area. It works because those sections are extremely brief. Yeah. And there's exciting things happening in between. Okay, I'm going through this town. I'm rushing. I'm going through this hail of gunfire. This bell tower is crumbling down around me. Okay, I got through that somehow. Like, they are setting the scene. Whereas I feel like in Battlefront 2, they are taking these scenes at face value. They're not throwing in that little spice in between to be like, this is interesting, this is cool, this is our take on these space battles that you already know about. I feel like it's just kind of relying on that knowledge that you have of Star Wars fights and presenting them in the most vanilla way possible.
And the cutscene, or anytime you get real character development, is usually a cutscene in Battlefront. And I want to talk about that.
Sure.
It'll go to the cutscene and take you out of it. Whereas I really appreciate those moments in Call of Duty when you're in control, you're in the game, and people are talking, and
right.
you know, there's banter and there's character development that way, rather than, all right, cutscene, okay, now you're back into meaningless objective,
right?
Cutscene, you know.
Yeah,
I think it's important. It's a subtle little thing that keeps me invested.
Yeah, I mean, the game attempts to add in some variety. There's some missions where you have to gather intelligence. But it's real brief. It's not satisfying. I feel like the game they try to do some things right there, but it just never quite works. So
they do the classic or the trendy thing now in first person shooters. You know, the part when you get to the planet and you see your friends being like imprisoned or whatever. Where, you know, there's a section where you're walking through and you get to like take in all the scenery. I feel like a lot of shooters are doing that now.
Walking through like the Empire stuff like that. Then
but it just like didn't work. I wasn't connected to any of it.
I didn't connect to any of it, unfortunately. But yeah,
brutal game.
I mean, it's
brutal game.
The campaign wasn't brutal for me, but it was just boring.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't like or anything like that. I was so apathetic about everything.
Right, exactly. And I think that perfectly sums up my feeling as well.
Yeah.
Where I just didn't care.
Which is disappointing because we all want a rad Star Wars game. We want that.
We all want it.
Brad,
we want it.
What's kind of disappointing to me is I feel like we would take a good one. You know, I don't.
You're right.
We would.
I think
we would not only take a good Star Wars game, we would overvalue it. Like I don't even think we need something truly great. It's just.
Well, we had one in the works.
Two in the works.
We had 2 in the works, and they're gone now. Cool.
We had 2 in the works, but single player is dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's move on.
What a bummer.
Let's move on.
Sorry,
Let's move on.
I shouldn't have brought up Battlefront.
No, you should have.
I feel sad.
You should have, because it's one of those things where I felt a little bit guilty where I'm like, okay, maybe I'm being too harsh on a game on this campaign that I haven't played through, but man, I really felt like I got a good sense of within those 3 missions that I do not want to play any more of this. And you know, we have the reviewer, and it's nice to be able to get this outside perspective and be like, hey, I played it too. I finished all the missions and I thought it was cool.
I mean, I hear people's opinions and I take them face value. I'm like, yeah, okay. Huber's not lying to me or anything like that, but I like to try things out for myself sometimes.
Absolutely.
Just, you know, because sometimes you agree with people, sometimes you don't.
Yep.
And it's Star Wars.
Yeah, and it's Star Wars. I love Star Wars, and it's just,
Playing as Darth Maul and Kylo Ren, though, feels good.
Yeah.
Feels
playing it,
real good playing as those 2 dudes.
Yeah, that's cool. But it's not enough.
Not enough.
I mean, I kind of want to go into talking about why playing as Jedi in Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy not only felt good, but was presented in an interesting way. But let's move on. Let's talk about what I'm really excited to talk about, and something we've talked about twice on this show, and I'm hoping
Twice?
that... Yeah. We'll talk about it twice. Divinity Original
Oh
Sin
shoot,
2.
dude! I know you talk about that many times. Sorry,
Yeah, no,
I could have talked about something.
the
else.
review that like is not done yet that I'm hoping by the time this
okay.
publishes is done, if not, therefore soon after. But anyway, Brad, I've got things that I've wanted to say about it. I've been playing it quite a bit this week, but you just started it. You've played, you said about an hour and a half.
Yeah, just like the tiniest chunk of this game, probably.
Right. Yes.
I
Indeed,
don't
chunk.
have a lot of experience with games like this growing up. Like,
Sure.
these remind me like a lot of the PC RPGs. I didn't really have a PC growing up, so I missed like games all like this. So me playing a game like this is kind of me learning them for the first time, almost, I'd say.
Yeah.
And this just still happens to be a game that is extremely deep.
Yes, it's extremely deep.
So, man, like when I started up this game and I just looked at the character creation,
Yeah.
I was like intimidated.
Yeah.
Because they're like, here's all these pre-made characters. You might want to try these out, but if you want to make your own character, you can do that, but you might totally screw it up.
Sure.
I'm like, holy crap, I love that you're giving people this much freedom.
Yeah.
Which I love, because there's people that love that kind of stuff, but someone like me who's new to this, I'm like, just take that character you made for me real quick.
Yeah. Here's the thing for me about complexity in games and failing in games and getting something wrong in games. There are multiple examples that I could bring up, but the mark of a really great game to me is it. And I've made so many stupid mistakes in Divinity.
Yeah, yeah.
There have been.
I'm sure I've already made some.
Just F5 the shit out of that
Quicksand?
game. Just
Oh
keep
no,
hitting,
the game I think told me to save often.
Yes, just like every time you're about to talk to somebody, fight something, go super
Yeah,
new,
this
just
game,
hit F5.
this
You will make
game
stupid mistakes.
gives you the impression that you're going to screw up a lot
Yes.
and you're going to die.
Yes, and you will screw up a lot. And I think I've spent most of my time being like, okay, I understand this now, but I'm not quite like in tune with it, you know, where you feel like you understand how a game is speaking to you and you feel like you can kind of take on any challenge. I feel like I'm just getting to that point. But to me, the mark of a brilliant game is when I am so overwhelmed, I'm so intimidated, and I am making a bunch of stupid decisions where I feel like not only am I failing and you're taking me down a path, it's not just a stone wall. Like, there are interactions that I'm having through my failure, but that I feel like I have so many tools at my disposal that even though I don't quite know how to play this game optimally, I feel like I have like 3 or 5 or 10 different options of what I can try next time. And so learning becomes so much fun when you feel like you have so many tools at your
I feel
disposal.
overwhelmed, but I'm having fun learning it.
Yeah.
That's the point. Yeah.
And I think when you talk about big, complex RPGs, a lot of the things that's very frustrating about them is the way that they started is just so mundane and limited. Whereas like Divinity, you start out as a prisoner, you start out getting to learn and talk to people with interesting stories that are immediately intriguing, and then you start out just trying to escape. Like, there is so much happening immediately in that game.
Yeah,
and
right
it
off
doesn't
the
waste
bat.
a lot of time.
I thought it was like a Frankenstein monster when I started it because you're like on some weird table in a lab or something like that.
Yeah.
I was like, cool.
But I'm not trying to put words in your mouth.
No,
what has that
I mean,
beginning experience been like for you?
So the beginning, you start on this boat.
Yeah.
You're a prisoner, I believe. Are they locking up like mages? They said or something like that.
Sorcerers, yeah.
Sorcerers. So
Excellent.
apparently you have like some weird like collar around your neck. Kind of going through the ship. Someone died on ship, and they're figuring out what's going on. There's some people on the boat talking to characters who I assume are characters you're going to recruit, because I did recruit one of them like that. Kind of setting that up, which is cool. Then there's this old lady who just goes nuts, and like these dudes explode, and some giant sea things attacking me. I don't know what the hell's going on. Like, there's tentacles going like breaking through stuff. There's like a room I got a key for. Dude, it's cool. You can like break doors down.
You can break doors
So
down.
the door is
in
locked.
in
there
one,
was
that's
dudes
my
behind a
favorite.
door, so I just broke it down, and they started fighting me. It's awesome.
The thing you have to be careful about, though, is like, while that is an option available to you, as you're breaking down a door, you're hurting the durability of your weapon
Yeah.
and that sort of
Just, like,
stuff as well.
Just like, I'm like figuring out all that kind of stuff as I'm
Yep.
learning around. I got the thing that lets you talk to animals.
Yes!
I was like, dude, this is awesome.
It's so good.
And it's cool because I was talking to a dog.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think, like, that's kind of maybe how a dog would talk if we
Yes!
could understand it.
Yes! Okay, so the voice acting in this game is incredible.
It's really good.
It is so good. you're totally right, Brad. When you're talking to not just dogs, but whether it's chicken or mice or cows, they try to, the way that they enunciate the words, the little tics that they have are like, yeah, a squirrel would probably do that, but it's a convincing performance. It's not just a joke. They don't just rest on the novelty of like, oh yeah, the rat in the prison probably would see those things in those other cells. Like, I don't know. They just
crazy.
This
is a Kickstarter game, right? This is a Kickstarter?
This is a game that was,
crazy.
Yep.
Like,
It is
could
crazy.
be the best Kickstarter game that I could think of right now.
It is absolutely phenomenal.
I
It's
put
insane.
Banner Saga up there, but I
haven't played Banner Saga yet, so I don't know. But Divinity is crazy.
more meaty.
Yeah.
For sure.
We actually picked the same class. You and me, like, somehow just made the same thing.
I picked the character that I'm playing as the template that he is.
Well, what I meant
the
is,
beast.
like, we had the same idea.
Okay.
Like, I was like, I'm going to be a rogue. I found out you picked a rogue.
Yeah.
The prince. What's
The Red Prince,
The Red
yeah.
Prince. We made him both fighters for some reason because we're like, yeah, this guy's a cool lizard. They want him to fight up close. That's awesome.
Right.
I was surprised we both did that.
Yeah, I'm curious who you pick as your third and your fourth, because that is a very important decision, and how you tune your party over time, because the way that you start out, you're limited with the amount of abilities that you can have, and so, you might struggling to heal might be a big deal until you either get a healer, somebody who can heal, or you tune the mage that you have more in that direction. But like getting more abilities, like I made somebody a ranger, essentially an archer, and at first they were okay, but they weren't very well protected, and I didn't have a lot of huntsman skills. As I got those skills and I kind of expanded what they could do, it's just like, okay, I'm raining down death from above. I'm doing all of these really, really cool things with these classes, and it's just, I feel like every time I play that game for hours at a time, I feel like there's this new facet that is opening up to me.
There was a ton of interesting classes too.
Yeah.
There was like people. There was something with a trident that can use like a weird tentacle arm or something like that. I think for one of their moves. It was just a really creative amount of classes you could pick from, and I guess you could like make your own classes. I looked up online.
Yeah.
People were like making like someone made like a Death Knight kind of class or something like that.
So cool.
Yep.
Like the amount of freedom this game gives you is insane.
It is, and I think freedom only matters as much as it is contextualized, and I think that is something a point that I'm at in Divinity right now. So I can progress on to Chapter 5. I've done everything that I need to do in Chapter 4, but I don't want to because there's still so much for me to do at the end of Chapter 4. There are 7 chapters total, I believe, and Huber, you care a lot about context and freedom, and I want to just describe to you how well this game presents both. So whether you're doing a huge quest or you're doing a small quest, there are options that you have to get through them. These options might just come down to, hey, how good you are persuading people. Did you pump points into that? Do you have a character that is good at talking to people? You'll see dividends here. Or what is your background? Are you dealing with nobility? If you're a noble, you're going to have options that you wouldn't otherwise have. Or do you have a spell? You have this ability, this sorcerer ability where you can talk to the dead? Do you need to solve a mystery? Go to these corpses, talk to their ghosts. Like,
so great.
There are just so many different paths that you can go, and I feel like there are a lot of times where it's like, okay, do you want to help these guys or do you want to help these guys? And it's like there are strong cases on both sides. It's really, really interesting, but that also extends to the main story as well. Sometimes I get frustrated in big RPGs where it's like, okay, the side stories are really cool and I'm getting a lot of context from my characters, but the main story is kind of funneling me down this path. It's not very interesting. There are not a lot of deviations. In Divinity Original Sin 2, so he's got these source collars on him that he's trying to remove. There are so many different ways that you can get to those collars. So many different people, so many different factions that you can talk to, so many avenues for you to just take off those collars. When you escape Fort Joy and you get past that, you go to a place called Reaper's Coast. And that area is just absolutely huge and packed with stuff. You need to learn how to unlock your sorcerer powers. There are so many different people that you can talk to learn how you develop those powers. And all of them have their own really well written, really well contextualized stories. But at Reaper's Coast, something I was a little bit worried about is I liked my companions. My companions had stories, but my companions weren't chiming in all that much. It felt like they were there, but like I kind of had to go out of my way to develop their stories. At Reaper's Coast, as I've been doing things, they've been coming up to me and being like, no, I know this person. So this person that is like continuing on with the main quest, I'm also developing a companion at the same time. There's a personal vendetta for them.
So good.
They really want to do something. Like I was just about to move on, and the Red Prince was like, no, like I've got unfinished business here. And so
that's so cool. Because in 1, the companions were like avatars, right? They didn't really have.
So my experience with 1 is limited, but that was kind of the impression that I got, where you were just kind of this blank slate, and the people that you were interacting with didn't have as much going on as they do in 2.
That's why I
could
fell out of
be very wrong about that. I need to play more of 1.
They seem like they have a lot going on from what I've been talking about. The Red Prince, he was hinting at like his kind of backstory and stuff like that already.
Right.
It's so hard for me to like. It's so intimidating because I know like that always freaks me out in games because I'm such a completionist. Where it's like you were saying about removing the collar, right? You can talk to so many people. And it's like I'll go and I get to a town and I want to talk to everyone, and like I'll talk to someone, that person will give me a quest to take off the collar, and then I'll go to another person and that person will also give me a quest to take off the collar. And it's like, who do I choose here?
Here's something that Divinity 2 does though that I don't feel like I've touched on yet on this podcast is I was worried about that too, that you just would be like, okay, like because you'll play games where it's like, man, you're giving me like a bunch of different options and I just want to do all of them, and like I have this journal that has all this stuff. In Divinity, I feel like it's presented a lot more organically than that, where you're kind of wandering along, you'll come across the scene, and you'll just, the way that it reveals itself, you'll just kind of slowly get wrapped up in it, where although there are a bunch of different similar scenes that you could have gotten wrapped up in, you didn't, because you went this direction, because you made those decisions. That's kind of the path that you're going along, and it makes that path more interesting for you because you're like not even aware that those other things are options. Yeah. And I think that is a lot more interesting.
Sweet.
Yeah,
that is some insane design right there.
It is.
Like,
it is kind of insane design.
Yeah.
Because I think it is way less interesting if you just be like, all right, here's your decision. Here's 10 different ways to go. Which one do you want? Yeah. Like that feels way cheaper than, oh, who's this mysterious person? Yeah. Oh, they're kind of giving me a hint.
Like, oh, you went down an alleyway and you saw this guy get murdered or something. I'm into this.
Right.
Like, wow.
Just kind of very slowly sucking you in and you're not even realizing it.
Jeez.
That is super, super, super rad. Another thing that I really like that I've kind of touched on, but like has only been true. Brad, please do this.
Okay.
Before you leave Fort Joy, get the gloves of teleportation. Just do it. Just get the gloves of teleportation.
Huh?
Because this is a game where like they'll set up this obstacle course, right, that you need to get through, and there are a bunch of different ways that you can get through it. Or if you're like, wait a minute, can I just like teleport my way through this? You can. There was like this broken bridge that led to these horrible void-woken monsters that I just like teleported my way across.
So cool.
And obviously they've designed for that in mind. They know how you're going to do some of this stuff. But there are definitely moments, there are skills that you get, and it's not just teleportation. It is like, oh man, I can grow wings because I got this polymorph skill and I can jump on top of this cliff. Whoa. Or, similar situations like that.
It's like endless.
Right.
Yeah. I feel like I'm just like scratching the
surface
topmost
of the
layer
surface.
of a very deep and complex game.
Yeah, and to comment on that, and like it's hard, I think, to when people are like, hey, I want to play this game, but I'm worried that I'm going to get overwhelmed. It's like, you are. I'm overwhelmed. And I think I would be so bummed out if, and I don't know, maybe I'll get to the end of this and I will be a little bit disappointed, but where I am right now, as I'm moving farther and farther along, I only feel more positive about the game. I only feel better about it, where it's like, you might be overwhelmed for hours and hours and hours, but if you feel the way I do, that investment will pay off.
Nice.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm very impressed with this game so far.
Yeah.
And I'm very early on, so good sign.
There's one last thing that I want to tell both of you.
Okay.
Hubert, you talk a lot about economy.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm talking about a game, and you'll be like, how's the economy? And I will go, it's fine, or here's like this one little cool thing about Divinity, or about this game that has to do with the economy. I want to tell you about the economy in Divinity. So, You will acquire skill books as you go throughout, but a lot of the best and most valuable skills that I'm using, I bought, and they weren't cheap. And because I have somebody that I've put some points into bartering in, that saved me hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of gold coins, basically.
Yeah.
And you also need weapons, and you buy armor for your head, your arms, your legs, your chest. You have an amulet that you can wear. You have 2 rings that you can put on. You have a lot of armor to buy. This armor, sometimes you just need it for protection. Sometimes it provides magical armor. Sometimes it provides physical armor. But this armor will also give you it'll also buff up certain abilities that you have. So let's say you need to cast this spell, you need another point in necromancy, you might want to put on this piece of armor that will bump up your necromancy, but it doesn't give you a lot of defense. And so with both your cash, when it's like, okay, I want to buy all of these skills, I want to try out all of these things, I feel like I'm really struggling in battle, maybe this skill will help me, you're also being pulled along with like all of this weapons and armor. Like there are times where I will go, because you can trade with like everybody in the game, pretty much. So you want to go up and you want to talk to people and you want to be like, what does he have? What do they have? Which gives you incentive to go and talk to as many people as possible. It's not just the designated shopkeepers. There are a lot of people that could sell you very valuable things. You want to go up and talk to them, which gives you reason to explore the world, right? And get to know people and get to know a place. It's not just that. It's just like, okay, there are times where I'll go to a shopkeeper and I'm like, I want to buy 10 things here. I can buy 2. Now I need to go back and I need to go and do all of these side quests because the money and the things that I get from the side quests are going to be so important.
Yeah.
Levels do not come easy. This is not a game where you're going to be leveling up every hour. It is like you will spend long stretches of time slowly getting to that next bump. And, you know, that 10% damage you get from that level up will make a huge amount of difference. And really, to encapsulate this long, rambling screed about Divinity, that is what I want to say. You brought up design, and that's exactly the right word. To me, I want to play games and RPGs where it really feels like what I'm doing matters. Yeah. And I think from every aspect, whether it's the abilities and classes that I'm picking, the comrades that I'm picking, the choices that I'm making during quests, I feel like all of them, it's getting in my face and saying this has a huge consequence. Yeah. And that is a remarkable feat to do. So not cool. A lot of games can do that. We give The Witcher a lot of credit for having really well-written quests. Divinity not only has really sharply well-written, funny quests, but like the gameplay side, the mechanical side, also feels like it has a lot of consequence every step of the way.
Yeah, really solid.
So cool.
Are you going to play it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Heck yeah. Cool. 100%. I played one. A little bit.
Quick question. How does the co-op work in this game?
So I haven't done any co-op in Divinity 2 yet.
Okay.
And before I publish the review, I've got to do that. And I've got somebody that is like just waiting, but yeah, I got to...
Someone in the wings.
Someone in the wings.
Some professional.
to do
yeah, professional.
Yeah, look out.
Something was spoiled about the ending for me with co-op that I'm a little bit disappointed about. I mean, like, I could have guessed it, I guess, but I don't know. It's just, if you are thinking about playing it co-op, there are so many little quests where I'm like, oh man, like imagine having to decide here with 2 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, co-op seems on the surface like it'll be really good, but I just haven't personally experienced
Remember when
it.
you get to the end of Streets of Rage and Mr. X is like, yo, join me?
Yeah.
You can say no or yes.
Yeah.
And if one person says yes, you battle each other. Yeah. So cool.
But the thing with Divinity is it would be one of the best games that I played this year if it didn't have co-op, if it didn't have a game creation mode. You could just excise those elements completely.
It has a game creation mode?
It has a game master mode where you can create your own
like
adventures.
D&D, dude.
You can
Insane.
It didn't need that.
Let's just play D&D in that.
Probably a stretch goal, huh? I bet it was.
Maybe, yeah.
This is a review that like
this is a daunting review. This is like an insane review.
It is a daunting review, and it is a review that like because I've taken so long with it, I've had to bump it to get out other reviews that we could be more timely about. I don't know if I've ever felt so guilty not getting a review out. Not because of how much time it's taken, which is usually the main source of guilt. The main source of guilt for me with Divinity is how good it is.
Yeah.
And I've heard people say things about the end of the game that have me a little bit concerned. And I've heard people say things about the combat, like how it takes too long and things like that. I've heard reasonable complaints, but where I'm at right now, it has only affirmed my smittenness with it. Like, I'm getting to a point where I'm like, no, I feel really, really, really strong about my feelings and about how good this game is, and I feel like I have ample evidence to support that. Like, there's some games I play, Huber, that I'm like, maybe this is just appealing to me. I feel like if you can give Divinity a shot, you should,
100%.
and get lost in its amazing like complexities. It's awesome.
100%.
It's really awesome. I want to know if you pick the Beast storyline. This kind of like,
sounds like I will.
rough and tumble, like Warlord of the Seas, basically. That's who I
Dude.
picked at.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think there's like a mercenary. I think that's who I picked.
Kakazoo, bro. In it
Yeah.
for the cash.
Yeah, and for the cash, you have to like kill someone, then you find out someone you kind of know. I think something like that.
Dude,
It's
awesome.
like, whoa,
Heck yeah. What a game.
What a game.
what a game!
Huber, you've been playing LA Noire.
Yeah.
You were telling me about Noire, dude. I never played this.
Really?
Yeah,
Man,
never played it.
I love LA Noire. I got the remaster. Last night I was watching Definitive Guide to the Mob on History Channel. It was like this mafia guy like got out of the mob, and it was like this History Channel thing. It was like really, really cool. But it got me all like thinking about the past and stuff. So I was like, I'm gonna throw on LA Noire because I want to cruise around 1940s LA. So I did. And that game holds up in some ways, but doesn't hold up in others. Visually, when it came out, the faces were next level. They used some crazy facial.
I remember them making a big deal about that.
They used some crazy next-gen facial technology where when it came out, it was mind-blowing. Like, I'll never forget when I first played that game. I was living in San Francisco, and I played all night and, like, turned it off and then, like, put some TV on, just like a TV show. And it was freaking me out because the just like the faces of the game looked so real, and I was watching this TV show, and I was like, dude, it looks like LA Noire. This looks so real. But now that stuff doesn't hold up as well visually.
Wow.
So there's kind of this, the faces look really good, but like the hair and stuff doesn't. So it's kind of jarring a little bit. But I really like this game. I love film noir so much. You can play the game in black and white, which is really cool. The story, like it's basically a cop simulator,
Yeah, so you're way in. Yeah,
And I think that's so cool. It's from Team Bondi, who's not around anymore, but it's it's got a Rockstar vibe. They produced it. Like Bully is a school simulator. It's like LA Noire, you're just a cop. You're working the beat. And I think that is such a cool thing that has not been explored enough in video games. Is like, so how many times are you a cop or a military guy? But like, this really gets to the root of like being a detective and like searching crime scenes for clues and interrogating people and like trying to see if they're lying or not. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it is really simple when you interrogate people. It's like they're either telling the truth, which is like, so you either think they're telling the truth on things, you doubt that they're telling the truth, but you can't prove it, which is really cool, or you straight up know they're lying and you can accuse them, and then you have to match it up with the evidence to show that they're lying.
okay.
So it's like, if I think this guy's lying, but I don't have the proof, I'm going to doubt it. But if I know they're lying and I got the I just like that dynamic.
I feel like Huber, LA Noire is a game. There's a game that I played through very excitedly at the time of release, and the angle that it was taking on storytelling about this cop simulation, I was so excited about. And for a lot of that game, I was like, this is something different. This is something new. I feel like it is a game that has gotten worse in my mind over time, and I remember feeling really bitter about it when it ended.
I forget the ending. I beat it when it came out, but I totally forget everything.
I know you really like Mafia 2. I really like Mafia 2, and I would, like you, I would get so upset when people would criticize
The open world.
Because it's like, I hate it when people insert expectations to a game that is like not trying to create those expectations.
Yep.
And I remember also getting really mad about people saying like, hey, there's not that much to do in the world of LA Noire. And I'm like, no, it is trying to tell a story. It is purposefully like, one, with these individual cases, and two, with this main story of Cole Phelps and kind of what's going on with him. The reason why I feel like I'm at a point where I'm like, I don't think I like LA Noire is the case quality was so up and down for me, where I was some cases I ended them and I was like, that was incredible, I can't wait to move on to the next one.
Yeah.
And then somewhere I was like, man, that was really a slog to get through. Whether it was like how finding evidence in the most like, okay, what one little thing did I miss here kind of way, or just the general story that was being presented. And then how they wrapped up the story with Cole Phelps, I felt was like so jump the shark, so unsatisfying that like on both fronts I was kind of disappointed.
Yeah. I totally forget how it ends.
Okay.
I totally get that inconsistency with the cases. There's also like side cases that you can respond to when you're driving around if you get the call.
Right.
You can like go, and those are always just like opportunities to shoot your gun.
Yep.
They're always just like, we got a robbery.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, we got a shootout. We need backup.
Right.
Like,
I had forgotten that those were in there until you mentioned
completely
it. Yeah.
optional. I really like chases in this game.
Okay.
I think it's one of the best games for legit like foot chases and car chases. Like, it feels so good. Just like running someone down through buildings or like bashing a door open. You're flying by people. You're chasing them down. Then you can like hold the gun on them, like freeze, you know, as they're running, and a little meter pops up like when you're holding the gun at them, and you got to like fill that up to make them stop. You know, you'll like shoot one in the air and be like, get out, you know? So like those parts are really cool. I would have liked for it, like looking back on hindsight, playing it again, you know, you brought up Mafia 2, I'm glad you did, because I would have liked for this game to have fit somewhere neatly in the middle of a Grand Theft Auto and a Mafia. Like, it really could have used some moments where, you know, you clock out. You clock out, man. Cole Phelps goes home. You have a home.
Whoa. There's not a scene like
no,
that in
it's
this
just
game?
like on to the next, on to that. You're always it's linear in design, like Mafia, where it's like you're always being pushed to the next, to the next, to the next. You're always on a case. You're always with like your partner.
But
It's
it
like
never feels quite as focused as Mafia 2 did throughout its story.
It does not. It's
Yeah.
exactly. It's like it's episodic kind of in that sense,
Right.
where it's like I really would have enjoyed these moments where you just clock out. You go home, and we can see Cole by himself to develop his character more.
Right.
You know, you go in the fridge, you grab a beer,
Because
hard day of work.
They
like,
totally try to use that angle of his life in
Yeah.
the story, but they do not sufficiently flesh
yeah,
it
you're
out.
getting these like war flashbacks, and like
Yeah.
it feels kind of like forced in there.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I really like a lot of what LA Noire has done.
Yeah.
And I really hope that Rockstar one day revisits it. I know the VR cases just came out a couple days ago. It's like 7 cases from the base game just in VR.
Cool.
Which I think is really cool because, again, the faces and stuff. Team Bondi was making Whore of the Orient, which never happened. It was like Shanghai 1930s or whatever, which is such a cool time period and such a cool location and place. Again, they went under. I feel like LA Noire was such a great first step into something that could be great.
I completely agree with you, Huber.
Like, they were right there,
they were
dude.
right
A
there.
sequel would be so awesome.
It falls into the same place as Catherine for me, which I know Catherine is a game that many people just adore as is. Catherine is a game where I love the idea of it. I was so excited about it. I devoured it,
Yeah.
and then was like, oh, like this is brilliant in so many ways, but I can't. If you got another crack at this, I
Yeah.
can just envision what could be. And it's
Totally.
the same thing with All Anymore. It's exactly what you described, where you just want that sequel. I feel like with the industry that we're in right now, those kind of bold, let's take a step at that, we messed it up a little bit, let's get a sequel, that avenue doesn't really exist. You either get it
Yeah.
right out the gate or you iterate on
Yeah.
what came before. I feel like having high-profile failures that we salvage and turn into something great just
Yeah.
like doesn't happen anymore.
Yep.
Doesn't happen in a meaningful way.
And you asked me, you know, will I take a new Red Dead and a new Grand Theft Auto over in LA Noire 1,000 times? Yes.
And everybody
yes.
would.
Yeah.
No matter what. On
yeah.
any
Well,
day
I
of the
shouldn't
week.
say everybody.
Everybody would.
Which is, you know, again, now that Rockstar owns this property, it's like, do I personally as a fan really want the entire Rockstar studio to develop an LA Noire sequel? Maybe not, but like another studio, you know, it sucks that Team Bondi went under because it's like if they got another crack at it, you know.
Do you think part of that is because of the narrative that is being spun with these games that aren't perfect at the gate, where sometimes, like, even just whether it's streamers or just some of the articles that I see about LA Noire, and it's like, you know, how could they mess this up? It took so long. It was so, like, it's just pinpointing the bad without recognizing the good. And LA Noire isn't, I'm not saying LA Noire isn't a game that shouldn't be criticized. I'm just saying, like, I feel like we have to either elevate something to pure majesty or we have to condemn it into the ground.
I know.
And it's like, how is that a healthy environment for anybody?
It's not.
Like, you can be really frustrated at a game, but if you can't see the good, like, come on.
The reviews for it were amazing, too, when it came out. That game is critically acclaimed. And you know me, man. Whenever these remasters come out, it makes me dream. It makes me like, why is this remaster coming out now? Why is this VR thing coming out now? Like, what are you up to, Rockstar? Are you making Red Dead Redemption 1 remastered? Are you doing it? You made GTA 5. You made LA Noire. You released all those PS2 classics on PS4. Let's go, Red Dead.
Well, maybe you'll play Okami now. That's remastered again.
Tragic tale, Okami.
Who
has my Okami out there?
Who has your Okami?
Somebody stole my Okami, dude. I've got my
What?
case.
Yeah, he lost it.
I got my Okami PS2 box, had the game,
Sure didn't just misplace it?
opened it up, it's gone.
I don't know where my PS2 one is either.
It's gone, dude. Someone jacked it.
Rip.
Moving it to a bunch of different places in a short period of time, like I experienced a few years ago,
Lost in the shuffle.
there have been multiple games where I'm like, wait, where did I put that?
Yeah.
Like, is that in this one random storage garage? Is that at
Did I sell it?
Right.
Did I sell it to GameStop?
Yes. Moving a lot of places a short period of time, if you have, like, a large game collection, it's kind of there have been multiple times where I'm like, I don't know where that is.
Yeah.
You gotta dump them at home base.
Home base.
Best you can.
Keep them in Iowa.
Yeah, keep them in Iowa.
Iowa attic.
The Iowa Vault.
Yeah. The Iowa Vault, yeah.
You can't come here unless you have the rights to this land.
I have these like gnarly bins in my house at home with like labeled, so it'll be like PS3. It's just all my PS3 games, or it's like Genesis.
Yeah, I have a ton of stuff in my garage still.
Overloaded. Too much stuff.
Yeah.
Brad, we were talking about LA Noire, how we'd love to see them take another someone, not necessarily them, because you know Team Bondi doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Somebody take another crack at those ideas. I brought up Catherine. Is there a game that you have a lot of complaints with, but you would love to see a sequel to?
Yeah, when you're talking about Rockstar, I just thought of one.
What was that?
I want a new Thrasher, Skate and Destroy.
Yeah!
That's what I want.
Yeah! So, Brad, Thrasher is one of those games that was on, like, a
PS1.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying it was, like, on a jam. Did you ever have those games as a kid where you played a lot of the demo, but you didn't play a lot of the full thing because of your access?
Yeah.
Thrasher was a game that I played a lot of the... No, I actually think I did end up buying Thrasher.
Yeah.
No, I did buy
Gotta
Thrasher.
own that, baby. Gotta own that.
Gotta own Thrasher. That magazine, bro?
Yeah.
I remember Thrasher being really cool, but super frustrating.
Yeah, super jank, but really
Yeah.
fun. It really emphasized more on less craziness of Tony Hawk. You know, just going nuts, grinding forever, manuals forever.
Yeah.
Like much more
Grounded.
I guess it would be like the version of what Skate was for back then. It had like some cool elements where like if you're skating somewhere to him, like a cop would come over and like tase you. It'd be like weird first person, just like weird goofy ideas like that. You could just like bail off your board, and it was like really funny PS1 ragdoll.
Yeah.
Like, if they tried to make a really serious skate game, they could probably make a pretty rad one.
I haven't thought about Thrasher, Skate, and Destroy in such a long time.
So much fun,
and I
man.
put you on the spot,
Yeah.
and you crushed
Nailed it.
You crushed it.
Hit it out of the park.
I do have some bad news, though.
Rip,
And
frame
I'm
trap.
amazed, Huber. That was like the last, like, what have you been playing game that we needed to talk about? And I was...
Hour and 47 in.
Hour and 47 in. And I was like, wait a minute. We're fine. We're off the hook. And then you said two words together that there's no reason for you to say them. Do you know what they were?
No.
Gnarly bin. Said
Gnarly
Oh,
bin?
gnarly
bin.
bins. Yeah.
That got us caught in the frame trap.
I want to bring gnarly back more into the vocabulary.
You want to play gnarly back
And
more?
bogus. Bogus is fun.
You know what you guys reintroduced in my lexicon and now I like go hard at is rad. I say rad all the time.
So rad.
So
Yeah.
rad.
So rad.
It wasn't so rad.
Eleanor is rad,
Yeah, it is.
dude. Interrogating
Actually, I
like
don't know if it's rad.
suspects. It's freaking cool, dude. Cop Simulator, man.
Cop Simulator.
Cop Simulator. Like the case starts out and the dude, their captain is like, all right, Phelps, we got an abandoned vehicle down on 3rd in Washington. It's like, all right, I got it. Drive down. What do we got? Oh, we got the abandoned vehicle. We heard gunshots and around. It's just so freaking cool, man.
Sounds
I feel
gnarly.
like LA Noire is one
God.
of those games where the moments are worth it.
Yeah.
You like there's plenty of mud that you could throw at it, and
Yeah.
like I have just that ending really gets to me, but it's worth it for the moments. It's worth it for
is.
what you just described.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the remaster's in 4K, dude. It's like, whoa.
I would love for someone to count one time how many times we slam our hands on these tables.
Yeah, it's
100
not,
times.
not good. We
Everyone's
shouldn't do it.
guilty of it, and I just
Yeah.
wonder what the number is.
Sorry, does it really bother the viewers?
It's
let me know if it
probably loud.
really
Yeah, let
bothers
us know.
you.
Yeah.
We're slamming people.
We slam.
Specifically, Hubert likes
Yeah,
to slam.
Hubert
I
slams
slam
the
it.
most, but yeah, we
I
give it a
slam
little,
sometimes
give it a little
myself.
chops, a few chops here and there.
I do have to give you a little personal anecdote, Hubert. So I'm always trying to play through a game with my girlfriend where like it's just like, no, this is just for us. We're just playing. I might bring it up on Frame Trap or something. But Resident Evil Revelations 2 is that right now for us, which I'm really enjoying. Don't feel like she's enjoying as much. The reason we did it is because she loved Evil Within 2.
Dude.
And that is what we
okay.
played together, and that
Excellent.
was great. But I was like,
Is she actually playing with you?
She's not actually playing with me. She
Okay.
doesn't like to play. She really
Yeah.
is
Just like to
enjoying
watch?
watching.
Okay.
But she doesn't. We've tried playing games together before, and it's been like kind of a fresh experience for her. And so she's been really getting into watching. And I was like, you know what? I want to play a game. Like we just didn't want to play Revelations 2 right at that moment. I was like, I want to play a game that is going to capture you, that you're going to fall in love with.
Yeah.
That I've been meaning to replay for a long time. That I totally adore. And we started The Last of Us on PS4. I just wanted to tell you that.
jeez.
I don't have anything else to say.
Have you played the remaster ever before?
I had not played the remaster.
Oh my
ever
god,
before,
it
so.
looks so good.
I think other than like watching you play at a GT or like playing it for like a minute, like I haven't really sat down and consumed it. But we played like an hour of that.
When's the last time you went through The Last of Us?
I only went through Last of Us one time
Oh my
when it came out.
god,
And
dude, you are going to be shocked by how much stuff you have forgotten.
I believe you.
Everyone
I believe you.
that goes through it is like, dude, I forgot about this part. I forgot about that part.
Yeah.
I forgot about this whole section. Like, there's so much.
I
that
just
you
want to
forget.
say, we got past the confrontation with Robert at the beginning. But I just want to say the very, very beginning, that so many people say how good that is.
Yeah.
But I feel like you could write 1,500 words on why the way that they write it and the way they presented that intro is, and then just the world building that they do when
my
you're
God.
walking around with Tess. Like how
Tess
they,
best.
how it's hard, I think, to throw people into a world and have it just naturally make sense,
Yeah.
and they just do it beautifully.
Oh my god. One of the most iconic moments, dude, is when you see Joel's bedroom and the TV glow coming out.
Well, even
Dad,
just,
you like go in there, see
even
the
just-
news.
something that I didn't pick up the first time when he's coming in to talk to his daughter, and he's having that conversation on the phone, and
Yeah.
you realize that he's having some problem at work, and then you realize that like, yeah, his worldview is hardened by things that happened to him in that beginning, but maybe like he was already kind of exploring this gray area beforehand. Just really cool tidbits like that.
Got a
Anyway,
gun.
getting off track. We might have more Last of Us conversations in the future, I guess.
Anytime.
So last time Brad was on
Anytime.
Last time Brad was on Frame Trap, we mixed it up. So we usually do multiple choice, which you're very familiar with. Now we're doing real or fake.
Whoa.
We go one at a time. So I'm going to give Brad a series of real or fake questions.
Okay.
Then I'm going to give you a series of real or fake questions.
Tell them which one we did last time.
Yeah.
How
so
impossible it was, Hubert.
which Sonic character was real or fake?
Oh my god.
We pulled from the comics. We pulled from games not released in North America.
Oh my
all of the
I
things.
got
Gosh.
1 out of 3, I think, right.
Jeez.
Before we really get into this, I just want to tell you, is this Resident Evil dialogue real or fake?
Oh, what an advantage.
It is an advantage.
That's right. I'll be a good sport.
I knew who
Well,
the
now I've
panel
got
was gonna
everything to lose. If I don't get these, I'm
Yeah,
a
you do have
failure.
everything to
Zero
lose.
pressure.
High stakes.
I realized that he had an advantage, but I was like, this is too much fun to not do.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I
You
fell.
should do next. Are these Kingdom Hearts quotes real or not?
You know what? I like
That
that
is
idea.
hilarious.
I like that idea.
That is hilarious.
So, if this is your first time watching Frame Trap, this is a little game that we do to kind of break up the show, just to have pure nonsense fun. I will ask them a series of questions. There's a little bit of lore behind it where somebody will say a word or phrase that will trigger us. We'll be caught in the Frame Trap dimension. But we have a little bit of help. We have some sponsors. We have 5 sponsors here helping us get out of this Frame Trap dimension. Our first sponsor is Greg, TheDarkKnight,
Oh, yeah.
Kettering. Saw Greg
we
playing
met
some
him.
Resident Evil DLC
Ooh,
earlier today.
nice, Greg.
So that was cool.
Well done.
Yeah. Our second sponsor is the wonderful Elsewhere Presents Sonic the Podcast. It is a Sonic the Hedgehog podcast from another dimension, a world where Sonic started out as a tabletop game in the 70s. There's an entire religion built around him, and nobody remembers the year 2006. Also, there is an Easy Allies in this world, a group of hardcore Sonic fans complete their own original characters and fan fiction. The Lords of Yonder would like to thank the Easy Allies of our world, for helping spread the word about this other realm. To show that gratitude, they've beamed images of the Sonic OCs of these otherworldly allies to the mind of a mad artist, and would like to share his interpretation of those images with the Frame Trap audience. So last time, Elsewhere Presents gave us their... Basically, they imagined us as Sonic characters, and I showed some of them last time, and I'll show some more of them this time right now.
Ooh, excellent.
If these images delight you in the slightest, please consider giving Elsewhere Presents Sonic the Podcast a listen, and follow them on Twitter at Elsewhere Podcast. Join host Griff Newcastle on his journey down the spiritually transcendent road that is loving Sonic. And as before, thank you, demons. Our third sponsor, much like Greg, just a cool dude, Nate Kiellach, who you can find on Twitch as Smoalgate. Thank you for sponsoring the show, Nate. Fourth sponsor is Zen Market, based in Osaka, Japan. Zen Market is a shopping proxy service that has been helping people get stuff from Japan since 2014. There are a handful of places online to buy marked up Japanese imports, but with Zen Market, you can go directly to the source and buy new and used goods directly from Japanese online stores. Additionally, you can bid in real time on Yahoo Auctions, Japan's biggest and busiest auction site. Find Japan-exclusive games, consoles, anime, toys, amiibo, figures, clothing, accessories, and whatever else you want. Zen Market staff can even help you search for the more elusive items on your list. The only fee is a 300 yen charge per item purchase. That's less than $3, and that's it. There is no commission based on the price of goods. You can shop, manage your purchases, consolidate items, and organize international shipping rights from your account on Zen Market's website. New signups will receive a 300 yen credit, so your first purchase skips the service fee altogether. Sign up for a free account on zenmarket.jp and start browsing Japanese stores today. Our last sponsor is Grandmaster Pizza. This is the context that Grandmaster Pizza gives us. Man, you got to check out those sweet vids from my boy Grandmaster Pizza. I got to tell you, these vids, sweet. So sweet, in fact, that after you listen to this great podcast that I'm hosting the heck out of with my most splendid guests who are just about guesting up a storm, you should also check them vids out. Search Grandmaster Pizza on YouTube for some super swimmingly swell gaming vids. P.S. There is some colorful language, so watch out, Pizza. You can
Hard
find,
R. Yeah.
You can find Grandmaster Pizza on youtube.com/c/Grandmaster Pizza, Twitter at twitter.com/Grandmaster Pizza, Grandmaster, not Grandmaster Pizza, and patreon.com/Grandmaster Pizza.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, sponsors. The month of December, we've actually had more sponsors than we've ever had. So thank you guys so much for the support. I hope you take delight in this game that we're about to do. So I did a bad job of this last time. Before you answer, make sure you listen to the whole thing, and make sure you whisper HOTTAKE before you answer.
Oh yeah, Blood didn't do that last time, huh?
Yeah, I messed up.
Tis, Blood.
I messed up as a moderator. Should have called him out on that. I'm going to try to pay more attention this time.
But it's Brad first, right?
It's Brad first. So Brad, you're going to have to tell me if these quotes are real or fake.
Okay.
The first quote, and so if on the fake ones, if there are quotes that I missed, please let me know. I couldn't exhaustively go through all Resident Evil dialogue. I just did the best that I could with some few quick.
Oh, I thought you were going to see, like, we had corrections from last week. That character was actually real.
Guston the toucan is actually real. No. But if these are, like, kind of close to real things, let me know. I did the best that I could. Brad, your first one.
Yes.
First question. First line of dialogue. No more goddamn spiders. Is that real or fake?
That sounds like something Steve Burnside would say. I'm gonna say no.
You didn't whisper HOTTAKE.
Oh, damn it!
No.
I blew it off though.
It was no.
HOTTAKE.
Brad, I'm gonna be extra lenient. Normally, we would disqualify you from getting a point there, but because it was the first question and because you were excited about Steve Burnside, you're right, it is fake.
Come on, man, I did it last time.
You did.
I was the only one who did last time.
I'm just saying, watch out from now on.
All right.
It was fake.
Yellow card.
Yellow
Yellow
card. Got
card.
the yellow card. Okay.
Yeah. But no more goddamn spiders is just something that I wish was true.
Yeah,
because
I was
don't want there to
channeling
be-
Steve Burnside or Ben Moore.
Yeah, I don't want there to be any more goddamn spiders. All right. Huber, I know you're also very excited. Do not.
won't.
This is
Don't
just
forget the
Brad's
HOTTAKE.
time right
Okay.
now.
Okay. Yo, did you ever play? Really quickly, did you ever play Rush of Blood? Until Dawn VR Rush of Blood?
I played it for a few minutes, but no.
Don't ever play it, Ben.
Spiders?
Spider,
Okay,
dude.
never playing.
Oh my gosh.
Deleting from my PS4, calling Sony for a refund. No, not really.
Dude,
Block.
for
Yeah.
real.
Blocking Sony on Twitter.
So scary. This,
Really? Like it's that bad?
like it freaked
Come
me out.
on, man.
This giant spider
I like
comes
Until
down.
Dawn. You need to stop talking.
Huge spider.
All right, Brad, your next quote is don't be a hard dog to keep under the porch. Is that real or fake?
HOTTAKE. Fake?
That is real.
What is that from?
That's Wesker from Resident Evil 1.
Oh,
In fact,
yeah, you know it.
the full quote, which I kept out this name to make it a little bit harder. Don't be a hard dog to keep under the porch, Barry.
Wait, when does he say this?
When Barry is like, when they're in the,
You have such an advantage. Baby.
when they're in like the botanical garden area.
Yeah, F you, dude. You know the whole script.
It's
For all
when,
you
it's
ask.
when Jill is like eavesdropping.
This was a good game, wrong panel.
He's like picking
He's
the
like-
exact moment.
yeah. Oh my god! And I didn't pick like Master of Unlocking.
That's
bullshit
right, dude.
either.
That was
I
just
picked-
that was just the RNG I was dealt today.
That's just the RNG you're dealt today. Some of these lines are amazing.
Yeah,
I
those are
couldn't- I
great.
couldn't
That's
resist
great.
this
That's
game.
great.
All right. So we're at 1 point for Brad right now.
Nice.
Your last line,
Okay.
Brad. I knew you'd be fine if you landed on your butt.
HOTTAKE.
Yeah.
That sounds real.
Okay. You're right. That is real.
That sounds like Tommy, or is that his name from RE0?
Do you know what this is from, Huber?
I don't remember this one.
Okay. And you'd be fine if you landed on your butt. That is Leon talking to Ashley in Resident Evil 4.
Oh.
I knew you'd be fine if you landed on your
Okay,
butt.
2 out of 3. I'll take that.
2 out of 3.
I'll take that.
All right,
You're gonna beat
Huber.
me.
No, dude.
Here we go. Your first line of dialogue. If we're going to be partners, you've got to do something about that smell.
HOTTAKE.
Thank you for following the rules.
I don't remember this one, so I'm gonna say false.
False is right.
Ooh.
But that was a good line, wasn't it?
That was a really good line. You had me with it. Dude.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Huber, if I beat you, I get to review RE2 Remake.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, he's 1 for 1 so
True
far.
true fan.
Too much pressure.
You got this, dude. I believe
Yeah,
you.
you got this, Huber.
All right. Next line of dialogue. Get a load of that thing's tongue.
HOTTAKE.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say false.
False is right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was like, when would they say that? Like,
Boy,
they don't say that when the yawn fight.
I
They
can't.
sound so real though.
I
Yeah.
can't
Ben.
trip you up. I'm
They
trying to make them
sound-
sound as real as possible.
They sound
Can't
so
stump
real.
Huber, dude.
That was created,
Can't stump him.
That was created by me in reference to liquors. But
Check out that
can't stop
tongue.
you. Get a load of them things.
Get a load. Yeah, that's what makes it sound real.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get
is
a
that-
load.
Get a
Yeah.
load. Yeah, exactly. I'm trying here.
Nice.
I'm trying. All right. Last question for you, Huber. Real or fake? God, now I'm doubting myself. I need to make sure you guys say HOTTAKE every time, and now I'm doubting myself that you did. All right, anyway. Last one. I'm sure you boys didn't just tag along so we could sing Kumbaya together at some Boy Scout fire. Then again, maybe you did. That was kind of a cumbersome one, so I'm going to say it one more time.
Okay.
I'm sure you boys didn't just tag along so we could sing Kumbaya together at some Boy Scout fire. Then again, maybe you did.
HOTTAKE.
Yes, good job.
I'm gonna say true. I think it's Leon, beginning of 4.
You got it!
Yeah.
Leon S. Kennedy,
Yeah.
Resident Evil 4, Michael Huber.
Still the RE master.
Still the Resident Evil Master.
Resident Evil Master.
Can't be tripped up. True fan. I love it.
Wait,
Brad,
see-
you fought admirably.
Yeah,
say
too.
that? Did
To
he say
the-
that in the drive before when they're in the
Yeah,
car?
the drive,
Oh,
yeah,
okay, with the police guys.
Holy
Nice.
shit, man. Good job.
I like Resident
Dude, if we did Kingdom Hearts, like, that's anyone's ball game.
No,
I've
yeah.
played all those.
Like,
That's
I'd love
anybody's
this. You
ball
and
game.
Damiani,
Yeah.
and you guys would be like,
Well, I just think like there are things that I love and have consumed to death that I'm bad at remembering names and I'm bad at remembering specific lines. Like I can tell you exactly what happened, but like the things that you love and consume so heavily, like you can probably recite the entirety of Aliens to me. You know,
A lot of it.
I really love Aliens. I can't do that.
Because there's just a few things that I'm like truly, truly, truly obsessed with,
yeah,
like Aliens and Resident
that's the
Evil.
word for it, is obsession.
And those couple things I'm obsessed with, I'm just
all in,
all
baby.
in with my life.
It is extremely impressive, Huber. True
Most
fan.
impressive.
I love it.
True fan. Truest fan. That's your
Truest
genre.
fan. King of the fan mountain, man.
We're all in it together.
We're in it together.
Resident Evil, baby. It's Resident Evil 7.
You know what I gotta say?
Goaty material.
There's certain things that allies have made me love more that I already loved. Like Huber, before I met you, I loved Resident Evil. I had played a lot of Resident Evil. I had grown up with Resident Evil. You have made me more into Resident Evil than I think I ever would be.
Good.
Whereas now it's like, I'm going to play everything. I'm going to try to play things multiple times because, like, you've given me an appreciation for it. Like, Kyle has done so with, like, Mega Man Legends. And even though I haven't cashed in on that, he's, like, made me more interested. Damiani has made me more interested in Zelda.
Well, you've made me analyze games differently, Ben, so thank you.
I hope that's a good thing.
It is a very good
I
thing.
hope that's a good thing. So I just wanted to say thank you. Brad, you have made me more interested in Kingdom Hearts, I think.
Cool.
That's the best
I'll
thing.
take that.
Okay. All right. Huber, you got to get us out of this dimension. What are you going to do? I love to give the panelists as much creative freedom as possible with the breaking us out of the friendship dimension, but I hope it's something Resident Evil.
Break us out of here so I can go to the bathroom, dude.
Yeah.
I had to go for like 40 minutes.
Okay.
We are going to punch out of this thing Joe Baker style.
Cool.
Goosh, 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 goosh.
And we're out.
We're out.
Thank God, finally.
We're out of it.
The air was gross.
Yo, Joe Baker v. Wesker fist fight. Let's go.
You know what would be so awesome about a Joe Baker v. Wesker fist fight? You know what would be really cool? HOTTAKE! It's that time of the show.
Excellent.
Try to catch you off guard there a little bit.
You always do.
Always do. Hubert, we were talking about people condemning something into the ground or people praising it to the high heavens.
Yeah.
And there were a few HOTTAKEs that I was thinking about today, but there was a conversation I had with an ally during the PSX meetup that I thought was really interesting. So Undertale is a game that I played through that I loved that I didn't talk much about for a very specific reason, is because it felt like even mentioning Undertale would have people jumping down your throat in all directions.
Whoa.
And I think it is wrong. I really do. I think it is wrong to criticize people being passionate about things, but sometimes I feel like certain topics or games can turn in such a way where it's like, I think I'd have more fun keeping this to myself rather than having a conversation about it, because sometimes it feels like those conversations are so toxic and so just aggressive that it's not even fun sharing your opinions on them.
Like, I saw Star Wars, The Last Jedi. I have no desire to talk to anyone that is not like right in front of me face to face about Star Wars.
Why is that?
Because I like the conversation, like the brief like rumblings I've seen are so intense. Like you read I've read some articles about it, and then you just dive into those comment sections, and it is like all out war. It is people calling people out. The people that like it, the people that don't like it are jumping down their throats, and it's like, I don't need any of it, man. I'm going to enjoy Star Wars for what it is. Talk to you fine gentlemen about it. You know, like, it's too intense.
It's too intense. And it's not like that with everything. There are certain games or topics that I could bring up where I'm like, oh, I know I'm going to have a great conversation about this with you guys and with
the allies.
The audience.
Yeah, talking to you guys is talking to them as well.
Right, totally.
Yeah.
It's just there are certain times with certain games where it feels like, oh my God, like, why does this need to be so aggressive?
Yeah.
And that's the nature of this week's HOTTAKE is I feel like it is so great that you can get on our forums, you can get on YouTube, you can get on Discord, you can get on numerous gaming forums to talk about things and go on and on and on and really pick things apart to death. But sometimes I feel like there's this coalition that forms that lashes out against any opinion that is not aligned with their own in regards to the quality of a game specifically.
Yeah.
And it's something that I'm seeing happen more and more as these avenues of discourse are multiplying and getting more embedded in our daily lives. And I think that sucks. I think it is fun to share your opinions about games.
Yeah.
I think it's fun to share opinions about games that other people will disagree with. Do you think that level of hostility, do you think I'm overstating it? Do you think it's not as present or as much of a problem as I perceive it to be? And if you do think it is a problem, what can we do about it? What can we do about it as individuals, and what can we do about it collectively?
I think it is a problem. Just this like you were saying, the all or nothing mentality. You know, it's either something is the best or the worst. It's very hard to have a constructive conversation about things that we are so deeply passionate about on forums, on Twitter. It's just such a bad place to have any kind of construction. So people go there and they defend their side and just don't want to hear it. Like, you know, you bring up religion and politics. It's like, how often are you really going to change someone's mind about something, you know, face to face, even about such an intense topic? Imagine trying to change someone's mind, like, just on Twitter. Like, you're not.
Right.
You know? And it's very, very frustrating. It's frustrating as a fan. Again, I want to talk about Star Wars with everyone from the high heavens, but, like, right now, Ground Zero, a couple days after release, it's such a hostile battlefield that, you know, I don't really want to enter that conversation for my personal psyche. You know, I'm good just enjoying it on my own and with fellow friends and family, and that's enough for me. So, you know, and I talk about my personal experiences, like with Resident Evil. You know, I've gotten so heated over the years with Resident Evil 6, you know, but am I, like, calling people out personally for 6? Like, borderline maybe, you know, not, like, Resident Evil 6, I'm not going to say, like, you suck for liking it. Like, I'm always open to people liking Resident Evil 6. Brad and I gave it the fairest second chance of all second chances when we streamed that thing a whole way through. Totally fair the whole way through, you know? So it's like, if I hate something, I'm still open to all avenues, you know? I'm still open to opinions. Like, when people were trying to explain why Resident Evil 6 is great, you know, I'm open to their perspective, but then I have my own, and it's a constructive thing, and that's easier too when you're streaming it, and you can kind of have those live conversations. But when you just get into drive-by posting or Twitter battle, you know, there's no context on inflection. There's no, you know, how loud is he talking? Is he yelling at me right now? Like, right. It's just such a messy way to have a constructive conversation.
So there are two things that you brought up there that I feel like are a little bit in conflict, where you said that, you know, Ground Zero is probably the worst time where emotions are at their most reactive and most not thought out, I guess is a way I could say that. But then you also said Twitter is just, you're just using one example. There are many things we brought. You said Twitter is just a bad place to exchange thoughts. So do you think that remains true for Twitter even as we get past Ground Zero, that you just don't want to have conversations about things you really care about on there?
I think as time goes on, it definitely gets better. You know, like, if I post about Last Jedi 4 months from now, maybe, it's going to be a lot more chill. People will have rested on it, simmered on it. Chill, you know, you'll definitely get a couple comments like, no, that movie's trash, but then you'll get some comments that'll be like, yeah, you know, actually after thinking about it, I really liked it. And then you'll get some other comments that'll be like, dude, 10 out of 10, best movie ever. So it's like, I had this epiphany not long ago of just like, Twitter is the world in a weird way. You have millions and millions and millions of perspectives and points of views, and no matter what, you're gonna have people on this side and people on this side. And I think realizing it when you go on to Twitter or forum posts or whatever, like everyone needs to realize that and go from there. I think realizing that there's gonna be people that love and hate a thing and people in the middle, that's the first step into having constructive conversations. So
talking about those constructive conversations, and Brad, I want to focus this on you first. Do you feel like sometimes how loud those conversations get, or how much attention is placed on them, has diminished your enjoyment of things?
Of things?
Yeah, like Huber brought up The Last Jedi specifically.
Yeah.
And it's like it seems like you can't get away from hot takes of The Last Jedi, which is fine. Like that's the new big thing. But does that ever dampen your enjoyment or your connection to something?
I'm very good at not letting people ruin stuff for me. Like, I know some people, for example, like, oh, I can't listen to that song, reminds me of my ex or something like that. I'm very good about just keeping something for myself. So, no. I mean, I could get annoyed of seeing something over and over again, but I won't necessarily hate something because people are talking about it all the time.
Okay.
And again, it's just this thing of like, you're going to see every side, you know? Think about how good social media has been for Yakuza.
Right.
Think about the resurgence of Yakuza, you know? And just seeing all the love, all the praise. Like, you don't really see that much hate on Yakuza, you know? And why is that? Is it because people are discovering it now, so they're less attached to it, so it's less personal?
Right.
It's like when you dig up these things from people's childhood, you know? Like, people claim and own Star Wars. Like, how many people out there grew up watching VHS tapes with their families?
Right.
You know, it's like that personal attachment gets people really passionate.
Yeah, they can get heated.
And heated, which is a good thing, very good thing.
Right.
But at the same time, maybe not the best thing for a Twitter war or a forum war, you know?
Yeah, you bring up a really interesting point, Huber, and I kind of want to throw a hypothetical or frame that in a different way, where you're saying like, oh man, a lot of people are talking about Yakuza. Like I remember Yakuza 0 being very like gift friendly and seeing a lot of Yakuza 0 gifts on Twitter that got a lot of attention, and people that wouldn't have given that game a chance, they're like, oh, this is funny. I'm curious about this now.
Yeah.
And having that be a really, really good thing. I think it can also go the other way, where you think about, you know, we're communicating in these bite-sized segments, specifically on Twitter, where like you want to have something that fits that format so well. You want it to be shocking. You want it to be funny. You want it to be clever. And so it gets a lot of attention. And Yakuza, I think, with those images, did it really well. What about the games that don't have that, or you know, can't be truncated that way, or getting ignored, or like, it's frustrating, I think, when you have people that are so aggressively in love with a game that you're talking about another game, and they almost attack you with that game that you love, where it's like, I'm over here talking about this, jamming on this thing. Why are you attacking me with this completely
this thing is better, kind of thing like that.
Right. I think what is always just so puzzling to me is when we're weaponizing things that we claim to love.
Yeah.
And it's something that I'm guilty of too. I like, Huber, how many times do I get excited about something and say, oh man, Huber, I know you would love this, it'd be great. It's probably coming from a good place, but it's when it turns nasty, or when they get condescending, or when they're like, you can't talk about this thing without this thing first. Like, why are we treating the things that we love as weapons? Like, how is that going to make anybody want to do any of this? Like, if we love games, why aren't we trying to be inviting and understanding and informative, rather than like making everything an us versus them sort of situation? I don't understand it.
Yeah, it reminds me of like Final Fantasy arguments. Like, everyone's got their favorite Final Fantasy. Like,
right.
You don't like someone's favorite Final Fantasy as much, and then they'll attack you, be like, oh yeah, but this one's better. That one sucks.
I just don't get that, you know? I love Resident Evil 2. People like Resident Evil 1. People like Resident Evil 4. People like Code Veronica. People like 7. But, like, can't we just all share our love for the franchise rather than, like, weaponize? Like, why are we pitting Resident Evil against Resident Evil? Can't we just enjoy all of them? Like, I said earlier this year, I might like Evil Within 2 more than Resident Evil 7.
Mm-hmm.
But that is coming from a good place of like, I love both of these things. I'm pitting them against each other in a loving way. It's like we just got gifted the two of my favorite survival horror games of the last 10 years. And it's like having these conversations of like what each one does differently than you know, like Resident Evil's first person, or Evil Within is third person. Like,
yeah,
it's fun in that sense. But when it's like you get into these camps of us versus them, like you said, of like, no, that one sucks, this one's better. It's like, why does that one have to suck for this one to be good? You know?
I don't have a problem as much as people saying something sucks usually. It's just if they get personal about it.
Sure.
Like, you're an idiot because you like this kind of thing. Like, I don't like Resident Evil 6. I think it sucks.
I think it sucks.
But I won't say you're an idiot because you like Resident Evil 6.
Exactly. Sure. People were like, the one time I got really heated about Resident Evil 6 was when somebody told me I was playing the game wrong.
Right.
Then I was like...
Isn't that always the best argument?
You're playing it wrong. It's like, dude, I'm playing this game efficiently and destroying anything that comes my way just because I'm not doing flashy, unnecessary spin moves and dive rolls that are completely unnecessary. I can just stand in the corner and shoot their heads.
Right.
Like, you know, that's another thing. It's like video games... Right. Video games are insanely complex on so many levels.
Right.
Because you're an active participant. We all play them differently. We all look at it and see something differently. We all draw on our life experiences. So I can see, like, you know, it draws something so passionately about us. Or, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, it's easier to claim ownership over a video game than a movie because you did it. Yeah. You played through it. You are the player. You know,
you accomplished something. You feel like you accomplished something. Yeah.
Whereas like movies, you know, I feel like the conversations are a little more. What's what I'm looking for?
Because you can't insert yourself as much into it.
Yeah.
Right.
They're more academic, I would say,
right.
Are the arguments versus video games. You know, where it's. We all play them differently.
Right.
You know, even if it's like a puzzle game, it's like I look at these puzzles differently than you are. Definitely, I look at them differently than Ian. Like,
right.
Ian just looks at it and like sees some code Matrix style, and I'm just like, right. It's like we're playing the same game, but we're having two drastically different experiences about it.
Hubert, I think you're so on point, and something that I want to bounce off really quick is. I understand, like, if we're people that are covering games, and we are essentially getting paid to have informed opinions on video games, and so I think there is a certain level of competency with the game and knowledge that is expected. I don't think that's unfair. Mm-hmm. I think it is fair to expect competency from people who are issuing scores to games. I think that's reasonable. That is not hate-filled. That is not attacking people who are not good at games or anything like that. That's just the nature of the job.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is assuming that by default, or because there's a difference between not doing something competently and doing something optimally. I think it's okay to be playing a game and not doing something optimally at every single turn. Mm-hmm. That's different than competency. There's also a process of learning, and this is I think what aggravates me the most is. It is fantastic, I think, if you, as somebody who loves this thing, mastered it. I think that is something to be proud of. I think that's something to share. I bet you have a lot of valuable things that you can say, but you too went through a process of learning. You had a beginning, middle, and end to your story with this thing. Let other people go through that, because sometimes learning, sometimes figuring it out is absolutely the best part. Yeah. And I see so many people attack those who are just genuinely trying to learn, who are genuinely trying to understand. Don't do that. Yeah. Help them.
Help them.
Think about.
Like, I want someone to go through Resident Evil 2 for the first time, dude. That's so awesome. Whereas the internet is like, well, I already went through that, so like you suck.
Right. Or like, oh, you missed this item in that
like,
one
oh, you
room.
missed it, dude. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Oh, this player sucks. It's like we're all just trying our best.
We're all just trying our best, and I think that is something that needs to be said. And what people don't understand, like, think about Yakuza. I think part of the reason you see Yakuza blowing up is because there's so much positive reinforcement where it's like, oh, hey, you love this thing? Awesome. Like, try doing this. This is the one that you need to play first. Like, it's building up this community. And, like, think about Resident Evil 2, right? If this is something that you love and something you deeply care about and you want somebody to share, help them out. Help them out. Don't make this thing that they're trying to get into like a point of agony.
Yeah, I get giddy when people go through Resident Evil 2, man. That's so awesome. I want to watch, dude. Let's go. Like, I'll sit back and watch. This is cool.
This reminds me of when Dark Souls came out, and a lot of people were playing these type of games for the first time. Like, a lot of people didn't play Demon Souls, just kind of hopping into that. And people, like, getting real mad if you don't understand how something works. Like, hey, this character might be lying to you, but you're not used to game characters doing that to you. Kind of, like, just missing stuff of their first playthrough and stuff like that. It's like, just some find out on their own. If they want help, though, that's cool. You can help them out, but just don't be a dick about it.
I bring back what I was saying about Twitter being a bad place for this. And I just feel like Twitter forces you to put things in a box, Ben. It was like the all or nothing mentality again. It's like, why does everything need to be in a box? It's like you can't have that discussion online, you know? Like, things can be good and bad, but it's so hard to just have that open conversation online. It's just tough.
Yeah, the conversation we had today about Star Wars would have been hard to have online.
Exactly. Like, it's, and it's just tough, dude.
So this brings me to my final question that I posed to both of you.
Okay.
Is... times have changed. That's inevitable. That's the march of the future. But I remember my discussions about games being limited to the people that I interacted with in person. And I enjoy how many different people I can talk to now. Like when I was playing games growing up, it was very rare that I got to talk to somebody who was like a true master. Like I can speedrun this game in 40 minutes. Now you can find those people all over the place. Like just your access to people is so incredibly increased, but that also brings in a sea of people that you probably don't want to interact with in the first place, that are just making your time with this thing way, way, way worse, and just seem to exist to tear other people down. So the question is this better or worse? Is our age of information and free discourse, is this a good direction that we're heading in or a bad direction? What do you think?
I think it could be both.
Yeah, me too.
Good and bad kind of thing like that.
Me too.
And that's kind of comes with everything almost. It seems like now there's good and bad to everything. Yeah. Like, yeah, you can get great information. You can talk to people who are really passionate share same views as you. You can run into people who are really mean and make you feel bad or something like that.
How could it be better?
How could it be better? I don't know. Like, better, what people would want is, like, better would be, like, you're not allowed to say bad things or something like that. Like, some people
Do you think that would be better?
No, I don't think that's better. No, I don't think that's better at all.
It is, the onus is on the individual. It is on humans to be better, to be open-minded, to see different points of view, to be willing to accept different points of view, to be okay knowing that you're even wrong about certain things. Like, just being able to see all that is the first step for a better future.
Like, treat someone how you'd want to be treated, kind of thing.
The golden rule.
Yeah. It's like, you probably wouldn't want someone yelling at you, calling you names or something like that. It's like, just don't do that to someone.
My absolute favorite bit of this newest season of Curb Your Enthusiasm was the golden rule. He, like, misses a plane by a second and they shut the door.
I saw this.
And they're, like, going back and forth. He was like, golden rule. Like, come on. She's like, what? He's like, golden rule. Treat unto others like you want to be treated. Like, just help me out here. I would do the same for you. He's like, yeah. She's like, yeah, well, federal law, blah, 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 like, states this. And he's like, the golden rule is on top. Federal law is second to the golden rule. It's like, so funny.
But what's so funny about that scene is he's like trying to use the golden rule. He's only saying that to self-service.
Yeah.
And
Larry David. Classic Larry David.
Yeah. Yeah. There's more to be said about that.
Yeah, it's
amazing,
interesting
bit,
but yeah, this topic is very interesting, and
I
don't know if we'll ever have an answer necessarily specifically for it.
Yeah,
it's on the
individual.
It's on the individual,
like try to surround yourself with people that you like,
right?
And make you a better person.
I do want to focus on the positive too of think about streaming a game that you love and having people jump in that also love it or have never seen it and are amazed by it. Like
Right.
that is so rewarding.
Yeah.
But, we go through this all the time where you'll get one bad comment. That one bad comment is like a cancerous seed.
Yep.
It's like rot
Yeah.
in such a good place. It's so hard to build the mental strength, to build the mental fortitude. It's like Star Wars, man. Like the evil leads to hate. The whole thing, and it's like, oh, I want to be angry about that bad comment. I want to be sad about that bad comment.
Right.
I want to ignore that bad comment. I want to learn from that. But there's so much going on. Like, it's overwhelming.
You bring up streaming, and we're very rapidly running out of time. But something I want to bring up is do things for the right reasons and have the right perspective, and that will serve you so well in the long run.
Yeah.
I think about the streams that really mean so much to me. I think about streaming Xenoblade Chronicles, and I think about streaming Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. And while those games are great in their own right, and I would have enjoyed them if I just played by myself, I was streaming for a small audience. I think, when I do those streams, there's like 150 people watching. I love it because those 150 people care about the stream. They care about me. They care about doing it. And it's like, I wouldn't change it for the world. I am talking to people who just want to be there because they love this game so much. Those are the people that I want to talk to. And I feel like when you're thinking about going out there, and whether it's with video games, whether it's just in your own personal life, there's this idea that there's a right way to do it, that it's like maximize viewership, draw more people in, stream the right games so you can grow your platform. And I think that attitude is dangerous, and I think it is misguided because, yes, things are a business. Yes, you have to make the business work, but sometimes I think it is better to do things less optimally that make you more happy.
Yeah.
I'm not saying people shouldn't strive to be better, but I think we can get caught up in this mindset that you need the biggest numbers on everything all the time, and that's the right way to do it. And I don't think that's true. I think if you're somebody out there that is trying to be a streamer and you don't have that many viewers or whatever, like don't get away from the numbers. Think about what you enjoy doing, what people respond to the most, and focus on building real relationships with people.
Yeah.
People aren't just numbers. And you were talking about the comments, and it's like, I think the whole world could benefit by being a little bit more aware of themselves, and things would be better if they had just like a tiny bit more consequence associated with them.
Empathy.
Empathy.
Empathy,
That's it.
man.
That's the word.
Take a step
That's
back.
The word. It's just
Empathy.
Yeah.
Please.
That's all that needs to be said.
And again, like putting it on Twitter, it's like, think about how many comments, think about how many things you've posted on Twitter.
Yeah.
How many like minds have you changed, do you think?
Yeah. I mean, that's a big danger where
know?
we're just so overwhelmed with choice that we can just focus on things that confirm both the best and worst parts of ourselves. We're not really, we don't have to engage with things that make us uncomfortable in a good way. And I think that can be really poisonous.
Do you think Twitter will be around in 10 years?
I don't know if the world will be around. Yeah, I do. I mean, if not Twitter, then
Something
evolution.
else.
Like we're moving.
Something else will always come along.
MySpace to Facebook to Twitter, like this.
Melodramatic, dude, to MySpace. See, you don't probably know about Melodramatic, dude. That was way back in the day, too.
I don't know about Melodramatic.
That was like it reminded me of like the original Tumblr. That's what it reminded me of.
Were you on Melodramatic?
Yeah, way back in the day. Like,
Dude.
we were in like early high school, I think.
Brad, give me some Melodramatic Brad. Like, where was your head at that time?
Dude, it was a lot of music at that time, dude. Big in like hardcore scene and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's where I was at.
Okay.
Good stuff.
Seth Rollins, bro.
A simpler time?
Seth Rollins. Yeah, I would say simpler time.
Yeah.
Always video game stuff though too.
Heck yeah.
Always.
One thing that I just want to say about HOTTAKE, that, like, I'm always trying to think about this show and how it could be better. And I think about that conversation that we had about fan bases and which eventually evolved into social media and how we're just talking to each other online. It's hard because I think that is such a complex question and we're very limited in our perspective. But, like, the idea is never to find an answer. The idea is just to either have or start a conversation. And sometimes we succeed and sometimes we very much fail. But, I think it is okay to not have answers. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah, we're not gonna solve the world's problems.
Correct. Yeah.
But we have a viewpoint on them.
We have a viewpoint. And you can't get anywhere without trying to start somewhere first.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings us to emails because you know what? Our audience has their own perspectives on things as well, and they want to know how we feel about them. And this is probably my favorite segment of the show. If you would like to get our thoughts on something, you can email askeasyallies@gmail.com. And you can write in. We get a bunch of emails. Even if you don't get in, feel free to send the same question, different questions. Keep trying. askeasyallies@gmail.com. Our first
really
email,
quickly, dude. Like last little thought here.
Yeah, please.
I'm okay with people not liking something I like. Like I looked at my shirt and I realized like, if you don't like Shenmue, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
But when you come at me personally and tell me I'm wrong or like tell me it sucks,
Yeah.
that's just hate.
Right.
That's just a hateful thing to do. Like if you don't like Shenmue,
Right.
keep it to yourself.
Right.
Or have a constructive conversation.
Right.
Like, Huber, I didn't really like this part. What do you like? I don't like it because of this. Do you agree or did like, you know?
And you know what? To add on to that, it's gotten to the point where when those kinds of comments used to happen, I used to like be like, wait, I'm trying to understand this. Make this make sense. Like, let's talk about this. And no, I can't anymore. I can't. Because if that's the way that you're going to start out this conversation, you're going to be ignored. You've taken something that could be a nice, open, fluent conversation, even though we're on completely different sides, and you've turned it into, no, I'm just not going to listen to you because you're coming out the gate not being open to me. So if you're not going to be open to me, why would I spend time trying to do that? And that's the thing is, we talked about that self-awareness, we talked about that empathy, is pay attention to how you're presenting yourself because other people are going to react to it. And they might just completely stonewall you because you're being a total dickhead. Yep. And you just need to recognize that you're being a total dickhead.
Recognize.
Yep. Our first email comes in from LaserCat. LaserCat's gotten on the show a few times. Asking some good questions. Angry gaming passion. Has the heat of passion over a video game ever led to you breaking something? This could be controllers, tables, body parts, windows, TVs, monitors, etc. For me, I remember playing GoldenEye with my cousins back in the day and always breaking something after a close match of License to Kill and You Only Live Twice. One such event was my cousin throwing his controller at my other cousin, missing him and going through a glass table. I also remember breaking mini controllers over Mortal Kombat 4 on X64 because my best friend would keep spamming those damn throws and sweeps. Any physical responses to games making you pissed off?
I've never broken anything, but I think the biggest points of personal anger have come from a few little games called Counter-Strike,
Oh, yeah.
StarCraft 2, and Hearthstone. Those games really get under my skin. It better now, you know. Hearthstone is the only game that really gets to me now, where I
you get upset.
You know, when someone does the mage time warp, fireball, fire.
But that's just you being mad at the game.
Mad at the game, but also like upset at who does it, man. Like the player on the other end, we're still doing that. That was a meta like 6 months ago, 8 months ago, and you're still doing it?
Some people are just in it to win it, man.
Like, come on.
You know,
Enough. Enough with the mage, fireball quest, archmage thing. Just get it out.
there are certain decks that just immediately... I remember getting into a conversation about Freeze Mage and how terrible it was to play against. And people were like... yeah, but it takes a lot of skill and takes a lot of thought. Yeah, but it's just you playing with yourself. I'm just waiting to see if you draw the
exactly.
Come on,
exactly.
Think about the other people.
Yeah, they're yeah. That's really the only thing that gets me.
Yeah, I too get mad at Hearthstone, but it is because of bullshit specific cards. Not very rarely because of the people, but if you're somebody that ropes every turn for no reason and you're playing some cheap ass deck,
True.
You need to think about your life.
Yeah,
you need to think about your
it's
life.
because every time that they get it off, I shouldn't say every time, but 8 or 9 times out of 10, when the mage does get the 4 sorcerers apprentices and the archmage, they taunt.
Yeah.
They taunt. They'll use the fireballs on your minions first, clear the minions, taunt, then shoot at your face.
And it's like you didn't do some impressive thing.
Yeah.
You
You
did
just
some,
looked online.
You just looked online. You did
You-
some goddamn combo that the
Yeah.
internet taught you about. And
Yeah.
you think this is your one moment to
Yeah.
feel like hot stuff, huh?
Yep.
Good person. Real
Good on you.
person. Yep. You know what, Kyle?
Hearthstone.
I was upset when Kyle Bossman said this originally, but Kyle Bossman was right. He said, I'm paraphrasing here, but he said, Hearthstone is a game about jerks trying to prove who is the biggest jerk, and that has
Yeah.
proven to be true.
It really is. It really is.
May not be the exact quote, but it was something
that's
along those
funny.
lines.
It's about being as scummy as possible.
Yep.
Who can out scum the other player?
I don't really break controllers, but Brad, I have a story that I think you might appreciate. Really quick story, very recently.
Sure.
I've been getting into Overwatch and plan on playing more Overwatch once I get through this Divinity review. And I was so excited about it. I was like, I'm gonna buy it on PS4. Bought it on PS4 and I was playing, and had my camera plugged in. Didn't realize that I had my camera plugged in.
Oh no.
And there's something that upsets me in Overwatch. I don't listen. I don't mind if you pick Widowmaker during quick play. That's fine. But like the people who pick Widowmaker that do nothing, that don't get any kills, and then blame everybody else, I get really mad about.
Sure.
Like the specific
Sure.
subset of players can also apply to Hanzo sometimes. It just rubs me the wrong way. And I started just thinking I was doing this in my own privacy. I started bitching about the Widowmaker, not thinking anybody could hear me. Didn't realize that I had my camera plugged in, and this was all being broadcast to them, just them listening to me shit on them, and I didn't realize. I quit the game, unplugged my PlayStation camera, and was like, oh my god, I feel like the biggest tool
Oh my
right
god,
now.
that's so funny.
But yeah, thought I was just venting in the privacy of my
hilarious.
Oh
home.
man.
Was not doing that. Not doing that.
Yeah.
Brad, you break anything?
No, because I knew if I ever broke something, my parents would not buy me a new one, and that was it. If it's broken, too bad.
Yep.
So I never wanted to break anything. Yeah, I've had like some moments where I've gotten heated. I've never like yelled at someone.
Yeah.
I can think of like actively me engaging someone. Like if someone would yell at me, I would defend myself. Like I'll yell back at them just to troll them harder or something like that. But I usually don't instigate people like that.
Yeah.
Like if someone's playing a character like that, for example, like that, I'd be like, hey man, can you like switch please or something like that. I'd try to be like respectful about it.
Right.
That's how I usually go about it. But yeah, man.
It's just hard, Brad, because
I've been in the moments too, like I've been in like a ranked game or in like Overwatch something like
Yeah.
that. Someone totally just blows it. And they messed up. They were being a total dick about it. I'm just like, you get like kind of upset. Then the game's over, and I just take like a minute, and I'm fine. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just a dumb video game.
You
Yeah.
mentioned respectfully, like saying like, hey man, could you switch?
Yeah.
The problem is like when you try to do that and you're coming from a good place and you're not being a jerk, you're just like, hey man, like let's try this, or maybe can you do that? And you're being polite because of all of those giant jerks. Even just bringing it up makes them super defensive and lashing out, and so it just
Well, yeah. When that happens, then if they're a dick to you, then my thing is to troll them back in like not necessarily a mean way. Just like, oh, dude, nice play, nice kill right there. And he's just dead or something like that. Dude, sick kill.
I don't engage.
I rarely do
Yeah.
that because I usually don't even care about talking.
Yeah.
Like, don't talk to me.
Unless it's
Most
someone
time.
like super trolly.
I will say that I honestly truly think the reason that I stopped playing MOBAs is not me slamming on
Oh,
MOBAs.
dude, toxic.
This
toxic.
is not me slamming on MOBAs or anything like that. I just realized that this is bringing out the worst in me. Like,
Yeah,
I feel
for sure.
Like I can't
Like
be in this environment
yeah.
any longer.
it like takes over and starts to feed
does.
on you.
It does. It
and you
takes
become
over.
like a monster yourself. So you gotta like take a step back.
Right, you're like yes, you just
learn
feel
bad
yourself
habits
becoming a
and
monster.
yeah, you learn bad habits and like that's how it grows.
That's
It's-
why I always made sure to play Counter-Strike and StarCraft with a friend.
playing with a friend is real
became-
fun. It
it
can
bec-
really ease the tension.
It became about me playing with them rather than me playing against the opponents. You know what I mean? So I'm not a very competitive person online. Like I really don't care. I honestly think the most upset I've ever been is Hearthstone. Really, like thinking
Yeah, I've
back
seen you
on it.
upset. I've seen you
Like
upset
actually,
in that chair cursing.
yeah, like what the just BS, you know, in the BM. You know, there's a couple times maybe in StarCraft the early days when people would mass void raise. I'm just like, oh my god. But then that is on me. It's like, dude, you got to defend for that. You got to get those tactics.
Yeah.
And Counter-Strike, I was just so young.
Yeah.
When you're like a teenager, it's like you want to kind of be in that environment.
You do.
Yeah.
It's like, come on,
So I got a question for you about
Totally.
Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
And I just want to know if I'm romanticizing this or not, because when I was playing Counter-Strike a lot, I too was a teenager, and there was a lot of nastiness back then.
Yeah.
And some of it was directed at players. I'm not trying to completely gloss over it, but I kind of got the sense in those early online days that it was just about being as fucked up as possible, and like everybody was on the same side pointing at whatever spray you had and seeing how fucked up it could be. There was like kind of like this like bondingness to it.
Uneasy alliance.
Yeah, where it
for
was
sure.
like, where it was just like, yes, we're trying to be as ridiculous as possible, but it wasn't targeted at each other.
Yeah.
Is that true, or is that just how my mind is remembering?
I think you're kind of right. It was an uneasy alliance, and the fact that the games were pretty large too. When they're slightly bigger games, it's harder to pinpoint it on one person. Counter-Strike especially too, like Overwatch is a game very about teamwork and the objective. Like Counter-Strike is too, but when you went into a server, it was just about your kill death ratio. Like, let's be honest. Like, yeah, you want to plant the bomb, but it's really about your
Top
personal
of the scoreboard, dude.
Yeah. So really that anger of like, you're bringing me down, teammate, or like that was all really removed, which helped. Like Overwatch, you play a ranked game and someone screws you, like you're hurting me personally now. That puts way more people on edge. So
Just play fighting games, man. Don't got to depend on anyone else but yourself.
jeez,
I will say
so hardcore.
it has not happened to me very often, but the couple of times that it's happened has been incredibly satisfying, and maybe I'm just a bad person for taking so much satisfaction in this, is when you beat somebody and like you beat them fairly, and then in a fighting game, and then you get the salty message.
Yeah.
That they're
my
sitting
God.
there in rage.
Oh my God, so
typing
good.
in your name, typing out the message, saying how
on
cheap
like
you are.
PSN, like
Yeah,
dude,
on PSN.
asshole doing
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah. No, I'm
Someone
not
did that to
I'm
me
not
in
doing
Injustice.
it. I'm not doing it. I'm saying
them
getting
doing it to you, like them going through the steps to do that is so funny.
That
to
is
me.
like the biggest validation you can take, where it's like, I made you that mad. Oh,
I feel terrible, dude. Like, oh my God.
You feel terrible?
Yeah.
But you didn't do anything wrong. You're just playing the game. You're not saying anything bad to them. They're just
They just can't handle it.
I
They
know.
can't take it. They can't
I
take
feel
that
bad
L.
for that. I feel bad taking it. I feel bad giving it. Like online games, man.
I mean, if you're behaving yourself, you shouldn't feel bad if
Yeah,
someone
that's the
like
thing.
loses
That's
their
the thing is like
cool.
That's where I'm coming from. Is if you're not instigating it, you're not being a jerk. You're just literally playing the game, and they can't take it. I think that is hilarious.
Yeah.
I think that's hilarious.
I
But
feel bad.
you're a good person.
Online games, dude. They're so high stakes.
You're a good person.
My goodness.
Take those losses as a lesson.
Yeah.
Learn from your mistakes.
Yeah.
That's how you get better.
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna lose. We're gonna lose every now and then.
You're gonna lose a lot.
You're gonna lose a lot, all right?
Okay, lose a lot.
Especially when you're starting out, because you're in those like placement matches or those early ranks when people are doing cheese.
Yeah.
It's about,
yeah.
It's about overcoming the cheese early on to get into a match versus a skilled player, and then that's where like things really happen.
Totally.
You've got a stream in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
We're gonna do one more email.
Stressing.
This is from Ian. He says, "Hi, Ben and panel. I have a question for each of you to answer, which you can hopefully provide some insight into where your passions truly lie in games. The scenario is this. You can name one game that has not been currently announced. It can be a new game in an established franchise, or it can be a brand new IP. If it's the latter, then you can describe the concept/world/mechanics, etc., and however much detail you like. Whatever game you pick will immediately go into development by whatever developer you want. When the game releases, it will be, to put it bluntly, the best effing game ever. However good you dream of it being, 100 times as good as that. However good you dream of it being, it's 100 times as good as that. What's the stipulation? The game will release in exactly 15 years' time." There's a bonus question here, but we're just going to do this scenario.
I have so many answers.
You're going to pick one. It can be developed by whoever. It can be an established franchise or a brand new IP. Going to come out in 15
Can I
years'
pick
time.
two, please?
Make
Just
them quick.
two. One of
How
them's
do I say no to you?
One of them's an Shenmue HD, because straight up, I want the world to be able to play Shenmue. I want everyone to be able to play it for themselves. I want it so bad. The world deserves it. Help us out. This isn't a brand new game. It's just a nice little HD remaster. I know nothing about development, but it can't be that hard. The game's already made. You just slap it onto PS4. Just slap it on.
I honestly, Hubert, I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like you took this question as an opportunity to just
Push the agenda.
Push the agenda.
This is a push the agenda question.
Next up, selfish pick. Enslaved Odyssey to the West 2.
Great pick.
Absolutely love and adore this game, despite its jankiness. Absolutely clamoring for a sequel. Where that game leaves off, I love the ending of that video game, and I would love to see where a sequel would pick up. That's it.
I want a new Zelda game that's like open world, huge open world, like Breath of the Wild, but with real dungeons, real deal.
Nice.
Real deal, heavy focus on story,
Nice.
all that good stuff. Just the Zelda I always wanted. Zelda's super important to me.
What about Ganondorf?
What about him?
Will he be in it?
Yeah,
Nice.
gotta have Ganondorf in
What
it.
about Sheik? Will Sheik ever return?
No, you don't need Sheik. Like, cause you got the Sheikas. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
You can still have like.
Who do you want it
ninjas.
to be made by?
Who do I want to be made by? So I like that Breath of the Wild took on. I felt like a bunch of new people onto it, like a new kind of younger staff. I would say. I think I'd want Nintendo to do it again. Like take all the things they learned from Breath of the Wild, just apply a few different things to it.
Nice.
Like it's not like the craziest thing out there, but
No, I like this. I like this pick because there's no guarantees that the next Zelda will be.
It'll probably be 15 years
anything-
from now,
yeah,
too.
and there's no guarantee that it'll be anything like Breath of the Wild.
correct.
You know, and you love Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, I do.
So
I
it's
got
like,
qualms, but I like it.
what if the next one is like a top-down throwback 3D Dot Game Hero style, but you know.
Yeah.
Like, what if the next Zelda is like they do with New Super Mario Bros, like New
Wait.
Legend of Zelda or something, and it's like top
The
down.
new Legend of Zelda.
Are you so you're not going to be getting another Zelda for 15 years?
correct? I mean, I wait like 10 years between all of them, anyways.
Well, more or less.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like I'm used to it. I'm a
When was
Japanese
Skyward
game
Sword?
fan.
was Skyward Sword?
2011.
11. 6 years?
6 years. 6 years is a lot less
6 years is
than
a
10.
I'm just saying, man.
6 is a long
Yeah.
time, though.
I'm used to waiting for
I
Japanese
mean, and
games.
you got like Link Between Worlds in between there.
All right, fine. Dark Cloud 3.
All right,
There we go.
There we go.
Dark Cloud 3.
Level 5.
Level 5. Bring him back. I want Miyazaki in there just for weird vibes.
Yes.
Get him in there.
Whatever happened? What is Level 5 doing?
What?
What are they doing now?
I don't know.
Are they doing Ni no Kuni 2? Level 5?
Level 5? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Ni no Kuni 2. That's right.
Sorry, I
Okay.
was thinking about
Spaced
my
out.
pick.
Okay.
Now I'm thinking all these like, where's Ueda? What's he doing? What are you up to, Ueda?
I want a new Chrono game, and I think it perfectly fits this question because I want to go
You want the
like
OG?
progressively crazy each year. Like you just know that in 15 years time you will get a new Chrono game.
Do you want
you
it?
just have to sit there.
Do
and
you
wait.
want it Chrono Trigger 2, or do you want like
No,
a new?
I want them to be more vague about it than that. Like
my
I
God.
want as mystery box as possible. I just want them to say in 15. I want them to come out. I want to say we're going to gather on this mountain, and this will not be broadcast. You have to physically travel to this remote mountain. You have to pay your way there. We have an announcement for you, and you get there, and this is all they say. They're like, "Thank you for making this pilgrimage. In 15 years' time, there will be a new entry in the Chrono series. Thank you." And that's it. You get no answers out of them.
And
for
it's
15
like
years.
an iOS exclusive.
We don't know. It could be that.
Pinball game.
It could be that.
That's what it is.
I realized my Shenmue one was completely stupid because 15 years from now we're gonna have hopefully like Shenmue 4 by then. Like, makes no sense.
Who cares, man?
You're just
This is
pushing the
fun.
agenda. It's
Pushing the
fine.
agenda.
Pushing the agenda.
You know what
cares, man?
agenda I will push instead of Shenmue?
Well,
Because
you've
we're
already pushed the Shenmue agenda.
Push
There's no
all the
instead of.
agendas.
He's cheating.
There's no
I'm
instead
cheating
of.
hard.
You are
He's
cheating.
cheating.
I
Yeah.
can't handle these types of questions, dude. You know me.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we're never getting a sequel. Alien Isolation. Let's go. Creative
Shots.
Assembly is
Shots at
like
Ben Moore.
It's not not at all.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Zero shots.
No. You know what?
No shots.
Alien Isolation is a game that I gave, I think, a 7.4 out of 10. It is a game that I have strong criticism about, but I want a sequel to.
Yeah.
I don't hate that game.
No, I know.
I don't hate
7.4 is a
that
good
game.
score.
Sometimes we live in a world where, like, I want a new sequel to Alien Isolation.
How
Would
good
you
would
be
that be?
satisfied with a spiritual successor? Somebody else takes Alien and does something similar with it, but it's not Creative Assembly.
Sure. I would.
That'd be enough?
There's
Yeah.
so many things I want.
I would.
There's a lot of things
I want TF3.
But it's kind of hard because I feel like I'm also getting a lot of what I want.
Yes,
Yeah.
things are happening.
Things are
Exactly.
happening.
Exactly.
Things are happening.
Just that Fantasy Star game, man.
I think I'm finally in a place.
That's a fantasy.
I am finally right here, right now.
Oh my god.
I'm in a place where I don't need Half-Life 3. Good riddance.
Good riddance.
I'm done with it.
You know, to be
Oh
honest
my
with
God.
you, as much
I'm
as I
over
adore
it.
Half-Life 2,
I'm so over it.
I'm so over it
I'm
too.
so
It's
over
like,
it.
you know what?
Yep. Goodbye.
You know
Games
what,
are so
Valve?
good now.
You don't even get my tears.
No. Not even like that was the last time I
Nothing.
even mentioned
Yeah.
Valve
Yeah.
ever.
You
Like
know
I'm
what,
not gonna
Valve?
waste my breath.
We don't care anymore.
Yeah.
We're gonna have fun playing the other stuff.
I thought of what I want. Because I don't think I got to take everything away. I'm sorry. I thought of something. I want World of Warcraft 2.
Oh,
I want real deal sequel.
Made by Square Enix.
No.
it'll happen.
Don't get near it.
Well, too
Well,
will
maybe they
happen.
could put some like weird items in it.
Nomura Designs
Yes. Yes. I want no more designs.
in WoW 2.
Only creature designs though.
Well,
Not
too
too-
will come.
No. Oh no. I want him all over
all
those.
over the place. Just
Give me a
influence.
Nomura Night Elf, baby.
Dude, a
Nomura
Nomura Arthas
Yes.
would look so
That
cool.
could be kind of
Oh.
sick, actually.
Oh yeah. Come on.
Yep. Dude, WoW 2 will happen.
Yeah, in
One
15
day.
years.
It'll happen.
But like, I'm worried that Blizzard is just like, we could do this, but we're making so much money not doing this type of game.
Sounds
Yeah.
like Valve.
Sounds a little. Bit
Sounds like a Valve. Well, at least they're like,
Who?
Who?
That once awesome
Shots.
video.
Here's your Dota card game.
We're just
you asked for.
we're bitter.
We're joshing.
We're bitter young old men.
We
Yeah.
just talked about like being jolly and stuff
right,
like that.
Right. We're like, think about how you're presenting.
Oh man,
Yeah.
we're just being dicks.
Well, you know,
Valve,
we're at the end of a
dude.
3-hour podcast. Cut us some slack.
Yeah, this couch cooler really set me off.
I knew I was going to enjoy this episode because it is going off the rails. I can count on you guys, no matter what, for being enthusiastic, and I appreciate that. Always makes it more fun. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Frame Trap. I hope you enjoyed it. Let us know. We are listening. We are paying attention. If you would like to email askeasyallies@gmail.com. If you would like to send in your crazy sponsorship and help us fight off the demons in the Frame Trap realm, go to patreon.com/easyallies. You can see more details there. And as always, thank you guys so much once again for watching. Until next time.